call this meeting to order. And at this time, ask Commissioner Ford to give us the invocation and the pledge of the flag. Y'all bow your head, please.
Lord, we come to you today. We ask your guidance. Help us make the right decisions for the county. We ask that you look over all the people participating in this meeting to have safe trip home when they leave. Have your arm of protection over them. And Lord, we ask you to have your hand of protection over all the first responders and military at home and abroad. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's what it's supposed to be anyway. Yeah. I don't know. And in school. Yeah, somebody did anyway. Okay, at this time, before we get started on the format of the meeting, for those that may be here that normally doesn't attend, we will be having public hearings, and of course, a card will not be necessary the way we'll run the public hearings, but for any of the other issues, if you'd like to speak on them issues, at the end of the table here, the clerk, she's got these cards for public speaking, and Kevin Kirby at the other end has got them, and we'll pass them down as necessary. Okay, so staff, we have any additions or deletions?
Yes, sir, we do. We would like to add 3 items. One is a CARC Swanee Valley Road request for that's coming up. The other one is a request related to Annie Maddox Park. And the third one is due to an email malfunction at the county. We did not get a proclamation that we should have regarding the youth leadership event, and Ms. B. Faithful Coker would like to do that real quick presentation.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have 2 items as well. If everybody checked their email, they received an email last night from the mayor of Fort White. He is requesting, and the town is formally requesting, 2 additions. The first of those additions that's being requested is to approve the donation agreement for the 2 pieces of equipment that the county had attempted to donate back in June of 2024. Some of y'all are looking at me like you don't remember it. Some of you do. There was a unanimous vote on June 6th of 2024 to donate 2 pieces of equipment to the town of Fort White, subject to a reversion agreement. If you will remember, that reversion agreement was not returned for some time. It has now been returned, and I've reviewed it. In light of the action you took on June 6th of 2024, no further action of the board's needed. So the town does have representatives here. My advice to the board is you don't need to add that. I'll just go ahead and have it signed because you've already approved it, if that's the pleasure of the board. So we won't add that. The other item that was requested for addition is I'm calling it the sewer interlocal agreement. If you'll recall, the town came and made an appeal at the last board, I think it was the last board meeting, maybe the board meeting before, regarding a need for some administrative support on a grant they have for sewer that's being built down in Fort White. We did sit and negotiate with the town. Ms. Terry was there, Mr. Ford, Mr. Kraus, you were there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we hammered out an interlocal. The town's new attorney was there as well. Well, they approved that last night and have requested that you approve it tonight. And so that is the request for addition, is to have that interlocal agreement approved by the board tonight.
So where here do you want to?
Do you want to do it right after the public hearing?
Yeah, I don't have a segment tonight,
Okay,
Mr. Chair. So
yeah.
if you want me to take it, I'll take it wherever you tell me.
We'll probably address that at the very last public hearing. Okay.
After the public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, but at this time, seek an approval, a motion for the approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. Motion in the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, so at this time, I've got proclamation number 2025 P-09. And just for the record, it was incorrect on the, earlier on the week on the backup material, but this is recognizing National Line Worker Appreciation Week. Whereas electric line workers approach their job with a sense of service and responsibility to their community, and whereas often they are the first on the scene when the severe storms or natural disasters strike, making sure roads are safe and the lights are on for other rescue personnel. And whereas these dedicated individuals work daily handling thousands of volts of electricity, and whereas many line workers are asked to work in hazardous conditions away from their families so that they can build and maintain the systems that bring electric power to the people across the country. And whereas their job takes courage and essential to keeping our nation safe and working, and whereas is the importance and difficulty of their job recognized very seldom, and whereas the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association has established that the second Monday of April each year should serve as National Line Worker Appreciation Day. And whereas it would be an appropriate time for Columbia County to also recognize the diligence of the line workers in our county. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Columbia County Board of County Commissioners that we are grateful to acknowledge the efforts made by line workers throughout the county to keep the power on and protect the safety of the public. We encourage all Columbia County residents to observe April the 14th through April the 20th as the Line Worker Appreciation Week, dated this 17th day of April 2025. Test by Jay Sweet, Clerk of Courts, Tim Murphy, Chairman of the Board, County Commissioners. Somebody here to receive, I'm pretty sure. Chairman, do you want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah.
Y'all, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll make a motion to approve proclamation 2025
Second.
P-09.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. All right, we're gonna do something a little Rocky. Come on up. This is Rocky's nephew here, and Rocky's brother, Bobby, that we all grew up with a bunch of kids. And I just thought it'd be kind of neat to present Nick and parents and dad and all line with us. We appreciate it.
And I want to say I am very proud of this young man. He is formed a career. He's done real good.
Thank y'all so much for letting us be here today. I just wanted to share while we were here a few words to really appreciate our line workers and just for the benefit of the community and all those here to learn a little bit more about what they do other than the obvious, right? Keep the lights on. So we pulled some numbers together. Just in 2024, our line workers drove 930,000 miles with no incidents or accidents, which is huge. Through their journeyman line workers, they're required to complete over 6,000 hours of on-the-job training and 276 hours of classroom work on top of doing their regular jobs every day. And really, we just want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the commissioners and to the community for honoring the invaluable contributions of our line workers. What I do, what everybody does wouldn't be possible without them. So we just thank y'all for letting us appreciate them during this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Faithful. And at this time, we got Ms. B. Faithful coming. This is the additional proclamation that she will be presenting for us.
Good evening. My name is B. Coker, and so this is the 14th year that we have celebrated young people. 6th year that we've celebrated Youth Leadership Week. So we are requesting that the county, one, acknowledges Youth Leadership Week which is April 24th through the 30th, with a proclamation. 2, that the activities that are scheduled to occur over a tri-county area, Columbia, Hamilton, and Suwannee, where youth, businesses, and public officials from those 3 counties will participate in activities. We're requesting that Columbia County Board of County Commissioners participate in the team canoeing competition. So Victoria leads up Columbia County's team, and her job is to gather participants for the canoe competition. That occurs on Saturday, April 26th, and we are going to canoe down the Suwannee River. So she needs 2 county personnel officials to participate in the canoeing competition. On the 30th, we'll recognize 10 youth ambassadors from the 3 counties at the Blanche Hotel. And we would like for the Board of County Commissioners to attend that event. Mr. Hollingsworth has attended the last couple of years. And you present them with a certificate. Businesses, other municipalities will as well present them with recognition. Have some words of encouragement to them, share some stories about leadership along their journey, and that concludes Youth Leadership Week. So the proclamation that I am requesting that you all approve states, whereas the annual celebration of National Student Leadership Week began on a national level in 1972 by presidential proclamation, whereas students across Columbia County in schools that are public and private, whether online or brick and mortar location, demonstrate leadership in the classroom while soaring above academic expectations, in leadership capacities with academic, social, athletic, and community groups, whereas student leaders make significant contributions to the climate and culture of their schools and communities, and it is important to celebrate their individual and collective efforts. And whereas we believe students have earned their right to be recognized for the entire week of April 24th to April 30th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved, the Columbia County Board of County Commissioners hereby designates the week of April 24th through 30th to Youth Leadership Week, joining in celebration of youth leaders sponsored by our Community Cares Coalition and community partners, encouraging citizens, businesses, organizations, and government agencies to join in acknowledging the success of youth leadership throughout the community. It has a date for signature and Mr. Murphy as chairman. That's it.
David, what would you add we need to add a proclamation number to this, such as?
I'm guessing it would be P-10.
Okay, and at this time, I would seek a motion to accept proclamation or adopt proclamation 2025 P-10 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. We would give you a presentation picture. I don't know what we're going to take a picture of, but thank you for your time. I mean, David, you got that card she presented to you?
Yes,
Get,
and we'll make copies for all the board.
okay, we can jump up here and get a picture for the record for that. At least we got something. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you very much.
You ain't got a selfie, you can't get your whole body in.
Yeah, somebody. I don't know. I ain't figured that one out yet. Oh, they're asking for a COPCN. Yeah, that's what it is. COPCN.
I still haven't gotten it.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna go to the public hearings. David, do you want to start off with the CDBG Grant?
Sure. This will be real easy for me because I'm going to turn it over to Antonio. But,
Oh, there he is. He slipped in. I didn't see you.
Here it is. So the rules were changed, as we said before, to allow us to seek a second CDBG Small Cities grant. We have an existing one that's for housing. So again, you can do it for neighborhood revitalization, commercial revitalization, housing revitalization, and/or economic development. Whatever grant you decide you want to apply for, it's got to meet one of the national objectives of benefiting low and moderate income persons, eliminating slum and blighted conditions, or a recent origin having a particular urgency, which includes but is not limited to stormwater ponds, paving roads and sidewalks, installing water and sewer, parks, community centers, wastewater treatment plant improvements, rehabilitation of low-income housing. So at this particular meeting, we're really just looking for you to give us ideas. There'll be a second public hearing on May 1st, and that's when we'll present you with what we're proposing to apply for your approval, and we're seeking public comment. This I'll leave it to Antonio.
Mr. Kraft said it all. I don't have to say much. That is exactly from the script that I will read. But to make sure that we achieve Florida Commerce process compliance, I will read through that script. It'll be a bit more rigid than I normally speak, but I want to make sure we dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's. As Mr. Kraft stated, this meeting is for consideration of applying for the federal funding year 2023-24 Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG grant. All Florida Small Cities CDBG grants originate from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, and are funded through Florida Commerce, formerly known as the Department of Economic Opportunity. For this particular funding cycle, there's approximately $40 million that are available for potential project funding. And that's for all of the eligible small cities throughout the state. The county is eligible to apply for funding in one of four primary categories. Each of the categories emphasize community improvement through construction or related activities and must be utilized to meet one of the following national objectives that Mr. Kraus just spoke of. Provide benefit to low and moderate income persons, prevent or eliminate slum and blight conditions, or meeting a particular need of urgency of recent origin. The four categories in a little bit more detail are neighborhood revitalization. That particular activity or program is primarily focused on community access improvements, sidewalks, infrastructure connections, safety upgrades, fire hydrants, limited paving, etc. Commercial revitalization, this is usually focused on improvement in an officially designated CRA, or commercial revitalization area. And it's usually deals with access improvements, again, sidewalks, accessibility for disabled individuals, and then limited utility improvements, where you would make some improvements to an existing business in the CRA area, things of that nature. Economic development, which is focused on LMI job creation through construction-related business or assistance to businesses. Those businesses can be one that is already in existence or a new business looking to come into the county. Again, CDBG assists with facility upgrades or facility development. And the goal of that particular activity is to create LMI, or low and moderate income jobs in the area for that particular business, be it existing or be it new. And then finally, housing rehabilitation, which is focused on community-wide housing stock improvements. It assists low to moderate income residents with home replacement and repairs, which ensure code and housing quality standard or safety compliance for any home that we touch. I.e., you have to bring that home up to code and or replace it to the current code. Again, this public hearing is both a requirement to ensure Florida Commerce process compliance and to obtain citizen comments concerning the county's community development or areas of economic need as it relates to one or more of the particular categories that I just went through. The grant cycle officially opened on March 5th, 2025. and it ends on May 16th, 2025 at 5 p.m. All grant applications and supporting documentation must be submitted to Florida Commerce before the aforementioned application cycle end date and time. This is the first step in getting to that application process. So at that particular point, if there are any comments or any discussion, I will stand back and answer questions and or.
Board, anybody have any questions or input for Antonio? I guess we need to put a thinking cap on and see where, and David, you will be dealing with Antonio one-on-one, I guess, relevant to the projects.
Yes, sir. And we still need to open it to public
I
comment.
understand. Okay, if the board has no, at this time, I'll declare the public hearing open. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this step of the CDBG grant? Not seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And I'll seek a motion to go forth.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I appreciate your
Antonio.
time this evening.
Appreciate you. Okay, Louis, where do you go?
Okay, the first public hearing we have is on, for y'all to consider ordinance 2025-15. This is, application Z 250103, from Lance Jones, representing Five Ash Forest, to change, the zoning of this location as outlined in your packet from RSF MH2 to RMHP, Mobile Home Park. This is a grandfathered in product here from before the approval of the LDRs, and it causes civil problems when it's not zoned as the use is. And the applicant is looking for correct zoning of what the use has been since before the LDRs were adopted.
Okay. All right, this board, any comments before I open the public hearing? All right, at this time, I'd like to open up the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-15. Is there anybody here to speak for or against? Not seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed. Go ahead.
I move that we pass ordinance number 2025-15, requesting a zone change from RSF MH2 to RMHP district.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Okay. The second public hearing is to consider ordinance 2025-16. It's companion bill to the one you just considered. This is changing the future land use map amendment as outlined in your packet there to appropriate for what it's being used for at this point in time as well.
Okay. I'll declare the public hearing open for ordinance number 2025-16. Again, anybody here to speak for or against? Not seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Wishes of the board.
I move that we pass ordinance number 2025-16, requesting a future land use map amendment.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
The next ordinance to consider is 2025-17. This is a request by Weyerhaeuser for a text amendment to the land development regulations. And it's more specifically came about as it pertains to the MUDI Intermodal Park out here to the east of town. This is a cleanup of language, more or less, to address densities and lot widths and things like that were not clear in the original adoption of the LDRs in 91.
Okay.
And that entire package, both the current and proposed, is in your packet and in red line for y'all to know exactly differences.
For the
that
change.
are adopted there.
And just for clarification, it's at the North Florida Mega Industrial Yard to
Yes.
the east here.
Yes.
So at this time, I'll open public hearing for ordinance number 2025-17. Anybody here to speak for or against? Not seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Wishes of the board.
I move to approve ordinance 2025-17.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Thank
Okay, the next public hearing is to consider ordinance 2025-18. This is a future land use map change from commercial to residential moderate. This is actually a correction. This is concerned phase 4 of Deer Creek Mobile Home Park, just off of J. Davis out there. And there was one section here that was zoned commercial, inconsistent with the rest of them around it. And what the applicant is asking for is that future land use to be amended to residential moderate to be consistent with the rest of the mobile home park there, the other 3 phases that have already been incorporated.
Okay. At this time, I'll declare the public hearing open for 2025-18. Anybody here to speak for or against? Not seeing none, declare the public hearing closed. All in favor? I'll seek a motion.
I move that we pass ordinance number 2025-18, future land use map change from commercial to residential.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Kind of repetitive there, huh? Jumping the gun. All right.
All right. The next one is an application to deplat Lot 1 of Oak Ridge Estates. This is a subdivision application, a minor subdivision application used to accomplish this. No further actions now, just the applicant just wishes to take it out of Oak Ridge Estates. There's been 41 of 45 confirmed deliveries of the certified letter that was sent out to let everybody know. It was adequately noticed and advertised in the local newspaper.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I will open the public hearing. I know this is what the majority of the guests are here for, and I'm glad to see you tonight. And at this time, I'll open up the floor for presentation. I think the applicant has got representation here. Come on up.
And Mr. Chair, for the information folks who are going to come forward, I am going to be swearing people in. So
Okay.
before you start speaking, please raise your hand and let me swear you in.
Jimmy Pittman representing Dr. Matre, and I'm sure he would love to be here, but he's attending his daughter's wedding in South Florida. So I am like a last minute fill in. I wasn't really prepared, or perhaps I could have given you something a little more polished, but what I will give you are just a couple of things.
We got you going. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
So I don't have to repeat that, do I, Joel? So anyway, basically just 2 maps. And in case you don't know, Dr. Matre owns 2 parcels of land that abut State Road 47. One is zone commercial. The adjacent one is the Lot 1 in the subdivision. His intention is simply to put those parcels together so he can sell them. So he has to go through all the processes, and of course, the first step in that is this deplat. I know there's a very well orchestrated group behind me that's going to speak against it, and we'll hear what they have to say. But if you look at the interchange area, which we all know that in most cases, interchange is going to be a highly developed commercial area, that map kind of illustrates how this comes right up to the border of that. So it seems to me that a commercial development would be in character in that area. All you got to do is look at US 90 and any other interchanges. They are definitely a commercial area. The county is going to grow, and they're going to spread into some areas that are going to have opposition, like you'll hear in just a minute. The second sheet is really just kind of giving you an idea of who's next to this parcel and what kind of buffers we're looking at currently. The 3 lots that are immediately adjacent to him in the subdivision were once co-owned by him with Donnie Williams. They separated some property up. Dr. Matre got the highway frontage, and Donnie kept 3 lots there adjacent, which have been vacant, I guess, since he owned them in 1998. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm sure you got lots of interesting things coming up, but I'll entertain any questions if y'all have any of me.
And board, any questions? This is in my district. I'm pretty well versed on it. But just for this is unusual. This is a deplat. out of a, subdivision. I've never been involved in one of these until this time, so it's even new to somebody, I've been here 8.5 years, so, well, Jimmy, we appreciate it, and
Thank you.
I'll,
Mr. Pittman,
Yes.
just for the record, did you prepare this map or did somebody in your
I
office?
did.
Okay, and do you want to have this added to the record?
Let's go ahead in case there's something that comes up down the road.
Okay. And
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you'll just make sure you get a
Jimmy,
copy
I
of
have
this.
one question for you. Chair.
yes, sir.
Oh, so right now you don't have any idea what the use of this property would be. He just wants to sell it. Is that correct?
I mean, obviously, if it goes through the D-plat approval, then the next step would be to try and get it rezoned so that he could join up to the commercial property he owns just to the north. And then as one bigger piece, he actually has several people who are interested. He has a land manager, if you will, who is not able to be here to speak to that, but they have some people interested in the property and interested in what happens here tonight. So I don't know what or whom it is.
So
but,
where would the access to this property? Where would that be? Would it be off of 47 or would it be off the side?
I'm thinking it would have to be off of 47. So that would have to go through the DOT driveway permit process. And of course, there's some, a creek running through it. So there would have to be some consideration of where that has to go. But those were just next steps down the road.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted, talking about the creek.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's gonna happen to the creek whenever he decides to sell it and then somebody wants to make it one piece? I know that's gonna be a hard thing to do.
Well, anything they do would, of course, have to go through the Swanee River Water Management Approval process. So, you'd have wetland impact issues, you'd have water conveyance issues, but that would all have to be worked through the Water Management District. So
Okay, so I'm just questioning, is that gonna benefit him that much to make those lots the property he wants to join it? Would it, I mean,
he seems to think it would, and I'm assuming that there are appraisal type issues or land value issues that probably come into play with different changes. So in his opinion, some of the advice he's given is it would be more valuable done that way.
well, I guess I need to ask the question, is that gonna devalue the homeowner's property next door? I mean, maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, I'm not an appraiser, and there's one in the audience who may come up and say something to that effect, but there are commercial properties, as I said, right there in near vicinity to this. There's a church school just across the road. There are, it's not like we're off in the middle of nowhere. We're up next to the threshold of a commercial interchange.
Okay.
And,
Just asking questions.
yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I'm super.
Now you can sit down.
Now, you go sit down.
Okay, at this time, anybody that would be willing to come forward and speak, I would assume against this project, step forward if you would. State your name for the clerk and we'll go through,
Swearing him in. Okay. Jim Moses.
Mr. Moses, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Again, I'm Jim Moses. I'm here on behalf of lot owners in Oak Ridge Estates, and we are in opposition of the request to deplat Lot 1. I've presented to the Board of County Commissioners a copy of the signatures of lot owners in opposition, and as well as several exhibits. The signatures in opposition constitute 35 of the 56 lots, or 63% of the majority. This also represents 100% of the lot owners that I had the opportunities to speak with. I got the opportunity to go door to door, as you gentlemen have to do every year during the election campaign. It was, I don't envy you guys. Our opposition to the deplatting is based on the following items. As noted in Section A, Line 8 of the application, and as Jimmy Pittman just mentioned, the intent of the deplatting is for commercial use. Section 14 of the restrictions provided lot owners the ability to have the restrictions amended by a majority vote of the lot owners. No attempt has been made by the owner or agent to use this permitted channel, and this request appears to be an attempt to bypass the restrictions. The restrictions include a legal description of the property, which encompasses Lot 1, which means the restrictions run with the land regardless of any plat. Therefore, deplatting the land will not release the property from the restrictions. Aside from the restriction, the lands has an underlying residential and environmentally sensitive land zoning designation. The ESA designation covers 80% of the property. This area is associated with Clayhole Creek, a significant natural drainage corridor feeding the Ichetuckney Basin. Industrial and commercial uses are expressly prohibited in these areas. The proposed commercial intensive use is also inconsistent with future land use designation, which is environmentally sensitive area and residential, very low. Traffic patterns in the area create heavy congestion during peak hours. This has increased significantly over the past several decades, 10% in the past 4 years alone, based on DOT traffic counts. Immediate traffic concerns are compounded by the adjacent convenience store, restaurant, motel, and subdivision, which have a combined 5 points of ingress-egress within a 300-foot stretch of the highway. In addition, there's a center bidirectional turn lane, a blind hill 800 feet to the north, and accelerating traffic leaving from the intersection of State Road 47 and County Road 242, which is 1,500 feet to the north. This creates a total of 10 turn options for traffic exiting State Road 47 and 10 turn options for traffic entering State Road 47, all within a 300-foot stretch. That was kind of a mouthful there. As lot owners, we purchased land and encumbered by restrictions intended to both restrict and protect the subdivision. All lot owners knowingly entered into this contract with the knowledge that these restrictions are intended to run with the land. Only through approval by the majority of the lot owners should any change to this lot, including deplat, be allowed. Therefore, it's the request of the majority of the lot owners that this application be denied. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Moses before he has a seat? Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank
Next up,
Greg Bailey, 904 Southwest Ridge Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm not going to repeat Jimmy covered a lot of stuff there. Couple things. The northern boundary of that lot is in the floodplain of Cannon and Clayhole Creek. That's where they converge. You're not in the middle of nowhere. He's right there. You're in the middle of where we've got a lot of drainage coming through. There's no way you're going to be able to combine these two lots, one on one side of the creek, one on the other. There's FEMA flood zones, FEMA floodways in there that you have to deal with. There's no way you can take and combine those two and have one use across those two lots. What I think will happen more than likely is they'll talk to Mr. Williams and try to get those lots and try to make a connection that way and make the lot bigger. Because the location of that flood zone is about 200 feet in there between there and Ridge Road. I doubt that you're going to get a DOT permit to connect in there. They're going to come in off of Ridge Road. Ridge Road was built as a residential subdivision. Right now, we don't have a whole lot of through traffic in there, even though Gertrudis connects to Ridge and connects to King. So we do have some, but not very much. Right now, people ride horses out there, they ride bicycles, we walk, we jog, and we don't have to worry too much about traffic. But if you put a commercial business on that corner, that cut through traffic is going to increase considerably, and you're going to have significant degradation on that road system at that time. So those are some things I would like for you to consider. And as Jimmy said, we're opposed to the D-plat.
all right, thank you, Greg. I wonder who this stranger is.
He got the prettiest house out there.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. My name is Mike Knoll at 1249 Southwest Ridge Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
I don't want to be redundant with some of the things that have already been said, but a lot of accuracy has been demonstrated before you with regard to flood zone, the traffic conditions that we have in that area. And I know my friend Mr. Pittman talked about, well, it's in the threshold of the commercial area. Well, that may be true, but we don't want that commercial area right on top of us. That intersection would become extremely problematic. The only other thing I can just really add to that is Ridge Street has a name for a reason, Ridge. There are my good friends on the high side of the ridge, and then there are those of us on the low side. And I got flooded twice and had to move the house up the hill. I think it'd be very problematic for a commercial development to get down there in that low area. In fact, I think it'd be problematic to even permit it, but it would cause more problems for us downstream. So we would be opposed to the deplatting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Evening, Kyle Culpepper at 1234 Southwest Ridge Street, which is actually at the end of the road.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you. So I recently moved here about 3 years ago from South Florida, so I've seen what population growth can do. And moving into this neighborhood was a huge blessing because it's in a neighborhood where we bought it for the purpose of it, Ridge Estates. So these are estate homes, places that have large properties, barns, nice homes, and it's a neighborhood where everybody, like our neighbor says, gets out and walks, bicycles, and me and my children, we ride the golf cart. And we go on Ridge Street and also Gertrudis. Gertrudis does back up to King Street. And I will say that being what this gentleman was saying about the church having a preschool there, that some customers do go through Gertrudis to get to the church because of how much traffic congestion we get on 47. Well, if we add a commercial unit to that corner there, I can guarantee you that's going to be a cut right through that neighborhood and cause concern for children, for people who are riding bicycles or even walking, because we all know today people are not drunk drivers, they're text drivers, and they're not paying attention. So for the safety of our community and for the investments of our estate homes, we feel that's something as a commercial plot where it would be built out most likely for something that would not be suitable for that particular area based on the roads and pretty much the view of the road. I think we should, as a neighborhood, oppose what could possibly happen, which I think we could all agree would be something that's not going to represent an estate home or a safety purpose for us who currently live there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's David Martin. I live at 341 Southwest Ridge Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
10 years ago, I bought 6 lots in the subdivision. They're the closest to the church and to 47 for building a home. And I bought all 6 lots so I could protect the nature of the home I would build there, an estate home. And since I'm the closest, most recently constructed home to 47, this is obviously problematic for us. I wouldn't repeat, I agree with everything that's been said. Currently, I'm experiencing more water on my property. Somebody mentioned the low side of Ridge. I'm on the low side of Ridge. My lots border the creek. The problem is not with the creek. It's more of the water running down the hill. And so I bought the lots and I'll deal with that, but I would hope that we wouldn't approve any additional development that would pour more water into that creek or more water down the road for those of us that built nice homes there. So we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, sir.
My name is Harmon Chandler, and I'm here to speak on behalf of my dad. He's lived out there in Oak Ridge Estates for close to 30 years now, Mr. Augustus Chandler.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So his concern is that intersection going out Ridge Road, just like the others have spoke of. There's a convenience store, a Subway, a motel, and other businesses right along there. Plus you have the traffic you're dealing with on 47 And like was mentioned earlier, the speeders coming up the hill there from that red light, when that light turns green, it's just like a drag strip. And also has been mentioned the fact that we have traffic from the school. I mean, it's not heavy traffic at this time, but to add another commercial business right up there, and then people trying to shortcut through the park to go to King Road, Bishop Road, Malden Road, back in that area where there's a lot of residents, is just going to increase the traffic. There's people that walk on that road daily, walk their dogs, ride their bicycle, a couple of golf carts. I've seen a young man with a scooter, with one of them little electric scooters that goes to work. I guess he goes up there to Wendy's or somewhere. He looks like he's got a uniform on that goes up there. Just the added traffic is going to be a danger for all of those folks that enjoy right now a nice, quiet neighborhood with no speed bumps and speeders going through there, additional traffic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name's Jim Moffitt, 1295 Southwest Ridge Street.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, sir.
I must not have been home when Mr. Moses was going around getting signatures because my wife and I would love to add our name to that. Mr. Murphy, you know well our situation. We're the last house that they were on the end of the cul-de-sac there. Flooded out 2 times like Mike and Laura. Don't need any more water coming our way. You told us you'll do your best to never add an inch to that creek. I just want to make sure that it's known that we are all opposed to this. There's a lot of other neighbors I see in here that haven't come up yet, but they're here. I see them. It's overwhelmingly, when that lot was bought, they knew it was part of Ridge Estates, and but they're thinking, oh, it's on 47. We'll get it changed someday. I'm against it, as most of the neighbors are. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Moffitt. Thank you. Okay, rather than, I appreciate everybody coming out, and I know it's a big effort to come out here on a Thursday night, right before a holiday weekend. I personally, as some of the people spoke, I've got a lot of knowledge in this neighborhood. It's one of the neater neighborhoods, in my opinion. You feel like you're in the country, but then again, you're very adjacent to all the amenities that we need in our everyday life. The ESA issue, it was an issue from the beginning. Of course, just like Mr. Moffitt said, there's a lot of history on this kid right here. Actually grew up on the creek. He's probably the reason why it floods to this day, but but everything's got to be Robbie's fault. But
I had a bridge built across it and the county tore it down back when I was about 12, so it's their fault.
But the neighborhood is a very unique neighborhood. I've already dealt with Miss Carswell. She been unbelievably, we have semis already traveling through this neighborhood. We put some signs up to prevent that, and it seems to have helped. But I appreciate each and every one of you in there that kind of keeps the eye on it. And the neighborhood, I personally knew the man. He was one of my mentors that actually developed that neighborhood years and years ago. And when you read these deed restrictions that was sent to me, and just be it known, us as government, we cannot do anything. We cannot enforce deed restrictions, a civil matter. But what I thought was kind of unique about this as it went on, and just most recently in the last week, they were sent to I. And what I thought was pretty neat is there, as Mr. Moses stated, there was a way and a means for the applicant to go forth and with the deed restrictions that's on the piece of property that he bought. And, they just neglected not to do that. That was their choice. But I'm simply, I've got to be with the majority because I think it's the right thing for our district in District 5. 47, like the man said a minute ago, when that red light goes red, it's like being at Gator Nationals. It's really, really bad down there. And they're coming out there. The other night, me and a friend sat right there at the church, and I ain't got to tell y'all, it's a very, very high traffic area. So the way I'm going to handle this is simply this. Other than the engineer, is there anybody here that is for this project that's in the crowd? Is there hands in the air? It's not a bunch of hooting and hollering. Who's here to oppose this application? I think it's pretty obvious, and I do again appreciate each and every one of y'all coming out. So with it being in my district, I'm going to go ahead and end this show, and I'm going to make the motion to deny the application.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, close the public hearing.
I'm
first.
sorry. Okay, Joel's got to keep me straight. I didn't get my speech right, but at this time, I've declared the public hearing closed. Okay, Joel?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Clear to
so-
make a motion.
Hands in the air, so I'll make the motion that I'm going to recommend to deny this application.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, thank y'all. Yes.
Give everybody a few minutes.
Take about a 5-minute break for some of the old people up here. Take care of
Don't mind old
business.
people. Jeremy, you need some help out. You need some help.
Sold it for good money. Then that guy tried to put a bingo place in there. Yep. All right, at this time, I call the meeting back to order. Where are we at here? Okay, Joel.
No, still got Louis.
Nope, public hearing, gotta finish public hearing, I'm sorry. Okay, so next on the list is the D-plat for Oak Ridge. No, I'm sorry, we got that. I'll get there in a minute.
Gotta go 25-20.
Right, okay,
2519.
2025-19.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I'm one ahead of my.
Okay, at this time, okay, Louis, go ahead.
All right, the next, public hearing considers ordinance 2025-19, application Z 250213. That should be 0203, excuse me. There's a typo there. But, we have a situation where 96, 97 acres have been deplatted from Fort White. This is an unusual circumstance. Consulting with, Department of Commerce, Planning Council and different, and statute. It's not done very often. I couldn't find a single example of it. So it was suggested by Commerce that this property come back into the county as unzoned and with no future land use. As a result of that, the owners of the property, Lisa's Land, has petitioned for the assignment of RSF2 zoning for the property. I can say this in your packet. I included the study that was used to justify RSF2 zoning when it was incorporated into Fort White for whatever that may be worth, to your consideration tonight. But as it stands, legally, there is no zoning on this property, and the vicinity maps I've got in your package there should, if you're not familiar with it, should point out exactly where it is.
Okay.
Commissioner Ford, yeah.
Before you open the public hearing, I need to recuse myself from this.
Okay.
This is family member, so I won't be participating in this
Okay,
vote.
thank you, Commissioner. Joel?
I just want to make sure he.
Okay.
I'm happy to answer any questions though.
Okay, well, early on, of course, like Louis said, none of us has ever seen such as this. And then that's when, of course, me and you had a conversation. And Joel, just for the public's, knowledge, explain this, how you did it to Ike,
Sure.
you know.
Sure. So when you annex property into a municipality under Florida law, the statute tells us exactly what to do. The land that gets annexed in keeps the zoning it had when it was in the county. And that's what happened here when this land was originally annexed way back when. There's another statute that not too many people are familiar with, which is the de-annexation process. That's where you say, I want to leave the town or the city. That statute, and this is what Louis confirmed when he spoke to other outside consultants, does not say what to do. So the annexation says, keep what you had in the county. The de-annexation does not say you get to keep what you had in the town. Now, I don't mind, I shared it with you, Commissioner Murphy, I don't mind sharing it with everybody. My first impression, and Louis can attest to this, was just do the same thing you do on annexation. Keep whatever the last zoning was and just, roll with it. To Louis' credit, he said, that sounds right, but I'm not sure it's right. He did some more research. We kept talking. And ultimately what was settled on is this approach, which is requiring the applicant, even though they had this zoning in the town, now that they've left the town, they're now having to come to the county and say, can we have that same zoning? Louis has provided the backup that the applicant used to get the zoning from the town because it's the same argument. It's the same rationale. So the process that's being used is highly inclusive of the public. It's making sure that everybody gets plenty of scrutiny on this. I think this did go to Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustment back in March. So that's why it does look a little different. In my years of doing this, I've never dealt with a de-annexation. So it was fresh for all of us, but I'm very satisfied that what we're doing is the most transparent process possible.
And of course, you could have said, when I called you, I said, what the heck?
Yeah, you
I've
did.
never seen such as this. I'm like, I don't know, but I concur with Mr. Foreman. It was, they had already went through this with the city of Fort White, and I said, and this no brainer. But at this point in time, if the board has no questions for Louis at this point, I would be, I'd like to open up the public hearing Board, any questions at this time? Okay. At this time, I open up the public hearing. Is anybody here to speak for or against this application? Not seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. And, Board, I have no reservation whatsoever recommending this zoning here. So,
I move that we pass ordinance number 2025-19, Z250213, assign zoning to property in the unincorporated area, District 2.
Second. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Deal. Okay, Louis?
Y'all do know y'all are setting up a case study for the whole state of Florida.
Stella said we were front and center already for our RV decisions. We flew the Senate court today, so let's go.
We're probably already on that list in some way.
The last public hearing is to consider ordinance 2025-20. This is a companion bill to what you just considered. As it came without zoning, it also come without future land use. And the future land use, there's an application there requested to be residential moderate. Again, following the same studies that were presented to Fort White when that was assigned to this property prior, as it was annexed into Fort White.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I'll open up the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-20. Again, is there anybody here to speak for or against? Not seeing none, declare the public hearing closed.
Before we vote, Joe, do I need to recuse myself from this also?
Just for the sake of the record,
I think it'd be great. I'm gonna keep it.
and then Mr. Ford, when we're done, we'll get you to file the paperwork with the clerk.
Okay, thank you.
On the recusal, ma'am? If you don't mind, come up, please. We got public hearing open.
Did you open it, Mr.?
I did. Well, I thought I did, but at this time, I open up the public hearing. Anybody here to speak for or against or have any questions? Yes,
No
ma'am.
question.
State your name for the clerk, if you would, please.
Susan Sutton. I live 306 Traber Court, Fort White.
Okay.
And I'm just curious as to what that actually means, the ordinance, because I'm understanding that it's voted for the property to go back to its original zoning. Does this mean they're applying for separate zoning for part of it?
Okay.
I can address that.
If you would, please, Joel.
So there's two things that happen. We have what's called the zoning map, and we have a comprehensive plan, okay, and a future land use map. They're two different things. They travel together. So the applicant requested zoning, right? And the zoning was approved. So they've received the requested zoning, which, what was it, medium density? Moderate density residential. This is now the comprehensive plan amendment so that the future land use map also reflects that zoning. It's just a two-track process.
Okay,
So that's why he referred to it as a companion bill. They run together.
okay. It's still just that original,
It's the same
the
piece of
same
property.
piece of property.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, not seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed and Lou, I appreciate the efforts that you put into this because I know you had a conversation with me. You was walking in the blind too, but Lou did a great job. I think he went over and beyond notifying the residents in that area. He put signs everywhere, so I thought he was running for office. So I thought he did a real good job.
No, hey, listen, don't praise him too much. He's fixing to leave us. So don't praise him too much.
Okay, at this time, what's the wishes of the board?
I move that we pass ordinance number 2025-20, CPA 250103, future land use designation in the unincorporated lands of Columbia County. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right. Thank you, Louis. You can head on back to Jasper.
Good job, Louis.
Okay, at this time, board, I'll seek a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion approved consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Motion to adopt consent agenda.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Kirby?
I think I was.
I
gonna
think you're
go
going
with
to
Joel.
go. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're
Let
right.
me do that. You tried to call on me early and then you.
Yeah, I kicked it to the curb and now we're going to reel you back in.
All right, so gentlemen, the town of Fort White requested that this item be added for this evening. You'll recall at the last meeting, the board voted to have staff, including myself, meet with the town and its new attorney, Michael Pope, to work out an interlocal agreement specifically to address right-of-way acquisition and grant administration in connection with what is now a nearly $10 million grant for a sewer plant and infrastructure at Fort White, and what I expect will probably be more like a $12 million grant by the time it's all over and done with. And so we sat down on Friday of this past week, spent a considerable amount of time together going over the parameters, and then I drafted what you now see in front of you and what was emailed to you last night. We have been as careful as we can possibly be to make it very clear that the county's role at this time is only grant administration support, primarily the assembly of data. So one of the big challenges you have when particularly a smaller town with a smaller staff and working with a large grant like this is you have to provide proper documentation of each and everything you do. It requires an extraordinary amount of administrative support. David and his staff can speak to that because they do it a lot. The agreement calls for us to provide that role for the town, and any costs we incur to be reimbursed to the county, subject to the grant, but by the town. The other important the other important element of this agreement is right-of-way acquisition. The town, in completing this project, is going to have to secure easements and real property. It's within the scopes of work that are contemplated by the grant agreement. They don't really necessarily know how to do that, and we have people on contract, our right-of-way acquisition agents, who do. And so the contract is written up, again, if the board were to approve it, so that our right-of-way acquisition agents work for the town, and essentially all the rates are piggybacked. And any costs we incur, that's an hourly rate that's charged, would be reimbursed by the town subject to the grant, and any costs incurred would be reimbursed by the town subject to the grant, as well as the cost of acquisition. So the agreement is within the scope and limits of what the board asked us to go out and negotiate. I feel fairly comfortable. The town has a very clear understanding of exactly what the county is taking on and what the town is still going to be responsible for. We have no responsibility under this agreement to perform any actual work on the construction of the plant, to do anything other than assist them in their administrative functions. Oh, I apologize, including assisting them in their procurement process. So one of the other things you have to do to be compliant with the grant is you have to do proper procurements. It's not worth risking it to go out and do an improper procurement, because then you get a denial of a reimbursement or you get a chargeback. So again, just like with our procurement agents, the town would reimburse any actual costs incurred by the county as part of our procurement process. They would also participate in the procurement process in terms of selection, and the town would have final approval on selection of any vendor, because that's the town's power to do that. I think I covered it all. There is quite a bit here. But that's the gist of it. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I think the town's well represented here in case you have any questions for them.
Well, go ahead.
No.
I had a lot of questions on it, you know, and the procure, and I had this discussion, David, with you early on this week. And I realized the town of Fort White needs to get the ball rolling in order to try to do the acquisitions necessary with acquisition agents. So then two agents that work for us, that's as simple as giving them a phone call. I mean, not, giving the city of Fort White the phone numbers. I talked one this week, not relevant to this, totally different situation. Ain't got nothing going on for the county. And the other one's got a few things I think we're collectively working together on Mayo Road with. And but with that being said, I don't have a clue even how much, who's the person that this acquisition agent is going to work with at Fort White?
That's Terry.
Who?
Catherine Terry. They related her to be the agent or our go-to person for the town of Fort White.
Okay, so that you'll be dealing with the acquisition agent. Okay,
So the way the interlocal's written up is they would continue to kind of communicate with the county, right? And again, I understand exactly what you're saying. The way the interlocal's written up, they would be communicating with us and then we'd marshal everything and part of our grant administration. What you're suggesting though, if I hear you correctly, is just let's let them piggyback directly with our acquisition agents and communicate directly with them.
100%, because like I said, and I spoke with you, I've just got all kinds of questions here, and I'm just trying not to back my board or a future board. I want to understand all the numbers and everything, because, I'll just go ahead and pull the rabbit out of the hat. Who's writing the checks for the land?
That would be the town.
Do you have the
Subject to
money?
reimbursement.
That's just, I'm not trying to put Miss Catherine in the spot, nobody in the spot. That's the questions I gotta have in my.
So at the meeting the other day, Joel brought it up. It is in the grant. He looked at it where the acquisition the property can be paid for out of the grant. Am I correct, Joe?
I believe so. Remember, I was telling you there's a little bit of ambiguity because they didn't check that box, but the box they did check certainly seemed to consider doing all the infrastructure and all the associated costs. So that was a question they were going to ask their grant administrator, their grant, what do they call that person under the grant agreement manager?
Grant manager.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Kraus just told me that I think the mayor would like to address the board if it's okay with you. Is that right?
Let's finish our discussion here first.
Okay, I just want to make sure we.
Because I want to give all the board members here an opportunity. So, that's where I'm at, because I don't want to do nothing to hold up their process. And that's where, correct me if I'm wrong, David, you did say that we could give them the acquisition contacts and what have you. And I get that. I'm just not me personally, I can't speak for the whole board. I've just got and I apologize to everybody in this room. We've had a lot going on this week, and I got a lot of questions. Nothing negative. I just want to understand what I'm backing myself into. But board members, that's just me. I'd love to hear from the rest of the board members here, please.
I'd like to say something. I don't know. This just came to us, a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I didn't even know this grant was even available. How long has this grant been sitting here? Because it seems like we're at the end point of the grant being still available. How long has it been available to the city? No, so Greg, North Florida Professional Service has been doing permitting and engineering on this for about a year and a half, if I'm not mistaken. So right now the engineering and the permitting is done, and we're trying to acquire the right of way, or the town trying to acquire the right of way needed, and then once the right of way is acquired, it can go out for bid. Okay, so this has been an ongoing process. Actually, since we started this process about 4 years ago. So the grant was just awarded in the last 2 or 3 weeks, or was it awarded at some other time?
No, it was awarded. I don't know the exact date. I'd have to look, but
do you know, David?
The engineering has been going on now for about a year and a half in the permitting.
The county has had no contact with this grant, so this is not something the county.
Somebody told me a year or two it's been in existence. Do what?
There's 3 different grants involved.
Okay.
We just got the third.
Okay, yeah.
One y'all was talking about.
We won't confuse it with that, but I agree.
Yeah, I didn't know how long ago it was. I just wondered how long you had the grant. This is my concern. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I love Fort White. I voted for the water. I knew y'all needed water. I know they needed it. It's just a fact of life. And we got it for you. And Rocky was a big part of that. But the sewer was a complete surprise to me. I didn't know anything about it till Rocky brought it up a couple of weeks ago. My whole deal with this is we know that it's going to cost. Now, this was the paperwork that was done back when the grant was, done, around $20,000 a year. Or I'm sorry, $20,000 a month, $200,000 a year. I'm wondering who's going to pay that. And I know that
I just wondering who's going to pay that. Do we have any assurance of that? Because this is what I think may happen. Y'all build it, y'all get our acquisition people build it, and then when it's built, from what I don't know y'all's finances, and nobody can answer me what the finances are, how much y'all bring in, what you can spend a month, what you can do, but I don't want to be on the hook for the next however many years for $200,000 to $300,000, and I know that's all based on whether you hook up every sewer, but if this happens and something happens where y'all can't pay for it, it's going to fall on us. I can guarantee you, the government's not going to let a $20 million sewer system go down without somebody taking care of it. And I know, I don't know this, but I assume, and I think this is how it would happen with any city or county, is it would come back to us, because you are an independent city. If y'all fail to pay and take care of the plant like it's supposed to monthly, they're going to come back to us to take care of it. So I don't know if I'm voting. I mean, if there's no way for y'all to pay for this, I'd like to know. I haven't seen those finances. Nobody's been able to answer that question for me. And I guess I need to ask that. Is there ability at all for y'all to pay what it's going to cost to run this sewer system? That's what I'm asking. And I guess I need to ask it of the mayor or whoever, but eventually I need to be honest with this board and your board. I don't want to have to pay that kind of money for however many years we have to pay it. It's a lot of money. We got a lot of irons in the fire right now. And I understand what y'all are doing, and that's my concern.
So
Go ahead, Mr. Ford.
So me and David, you can come in if you want to. We have looked at a lot of different, or not a lot, but there's several different options for the town of Fort White. If they can't run it, there's other utilities out there. There's government utilities that will come in and operate and maintain the plant. David, am I correct?
So first of all, as I said before, the county has had no input into this grant at all. We don't really know much about it. What I do know is it's on the city to run their plant, operate their plant. Now, in a theoretical sense, are there people the city could go to? I have been told by the city of Lake City they would be willing to take over the plant, possibly. We are forming a utility authority. That's a possibility. There is a government utility authority across the state of Florida. That's a possibility. We as a county would have to take it over only if there was a complete failure by the town.
Okay.
So it's like when we take over private plants, it's when they abandon them. Short of abandoning them, I'm not sure legally we would have the obligation to take it over. I would defer to Joel on that.
Okay, let Rocky finish up.
But
because he's on the road.
I'm just saying, we're getting off on another, this is not even part of what we're talking about tonight. All we're talking about tonight is the same thing we talked about last week when we voted 5-0, to help the town acquire right-of-way and administer the grant. We are in no way obligating ourselves to maintain, operate, or spend any money on anything. Am I correct, Joe?
Yes, sir. It's very careful to draft it that way.
Okay. So if we.
You finish, Rocky?
I mean, right now.
Okay, go ahead.
But my caution with this is this. And maybe Mr. Kirby or one of y'all, whoever, one of y'all acquisition, if we pass this, is this the last, is this what you need to get this grant brought to you? In other words, if we pass this right here, we're going to help you get that grant and you're going to have the money to build that plant. Is that right?
They've got a grant money to build the plant.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you want to come up, Mayor.
Hold on. No. Come on up. Hey, Mayor, you come up and sit up front here. We can get you started. Now, we're going to go all through us and then we're going to discuss it.
This is my concern. We're kind of like going, okay, we're going to give y'all all the ability to go out and negotiate buying something,
and get the grant. Once you get the grant, we know you have the money to build the plant because the money isn't going to be in your pocket. Once you build that plant, I myself believe I can't get any really, I would like to see some paperwork on how they're going to pay for it. But I believe that once we give you the acquisition help and do everything we do and you build the plant, it is going to be on us. I'm just going to be honest. I do not believe that the town of Fort White can pay for it. I just don't, because there's no, you're gonna, even if everybody hooks up, and that is usually not the case. Everybody hooks up, it's going to still be $200,000 for the first phase. So I'm hesitant to say, yeah, it's almost like it's almost like you're saying, yeah. And then at some point you're going to say no, like we got to pay for it. So what I'm saying is I know that what Rocky's saying is this is just the acquisition all part, but if this acquisition part and the things that we're doing right now happen, is that going to get you the money for the plant? Then you build it. And I know Joel is saying we're not committing to that, but I can promise you, if y'all have to abandon that plant because you're not able to afford running it, the governor will fix that. The governor or whoever's in charge at that point will say somebody's taking over that plant, and it will not be District County. It won't be Levy County. It's going to be Columbia County. That is my concern. I hope everybody understands that. I understand you're saying we're not going to have to spend a dime. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I don't know. And if y'all have a way to pay for it, I'd like to see the plan for that. I mean, I'd like to see how that's going to happen, because I know what Rocky's saying. This isn't what we're talking about. This is a step toward building. So when that step toward building happens and it gets built, who is going to pay for it for the next 20 years? Or however many years it takes it to break even.
Chairman.
You know.
Go ahead.
So
I'll get to you.
It's not his fault. I'm kind of looking at him.
So let me address some of the issues that Robbie just brought up. Number one, I heard Mr. Hollingsworth sit here last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, and say, we don't mind spending money in Ellisville because we know we got stuff coming to Ellisville. Now, what if 20 years ago, this board that was sitting up here 20 years ago said, we can't afford to do anything in Ellisville. We're not going to subsidize Ellisville for 20 years. We wouldn't know anything's coming to Ellisville now today. It would still be just like it was. So we have the opportunity right now to make a decision with this board to move forward with the south end of the county. Not only do we have a decision to move forward, we've got the money to build, or Fort White's got the money to build a sewer plant, to take hundreds of septic tanks off the environment of the river, the springs, in a major water recharge area in the town of Fort White. And we're sitting here arguing about $200,000 when the state is spending $20 million to take these septic tanks off our environmental impacted area of our rivers and springs that are going to protect generations and generations of people to preserve our rivers and springs with this system. I think that's mighty selfish of everybody sitting up here to take that route and not say, we should be taking advantage of this and working toward this. If nothing else, for the environment. And we know from experience in Columbia County right now that if you build it, they're going to come. Look at Ellisville. I mean, right now we've subsidized Ellisville still about $300,000 a year. We subsidize Ellisville with 24 customers, 24 sewer customers right now. And we subsidize it every year, $300,000. But we know we've got over $1 million coming in right now from Ellisville because there's water and sewer in Ellisville. Now, I don't know about any of y'all, but I'll trade $300,000 for $1 million every day of the week. Every day of the week. Not to mention the environment that we have the chance to preserve for our kids and our grandkids and our future generations to take these septic tanks off our rivers and springs. I just, for the life of me, I cannot fathom where y'all are coming from with this. I just don't understand it. You got the state saying, we want to help y'all. We're going to give y'all, when it's all said and done, probably $100 million to spend in the south end of Columbia County. I mean, 5 years ago, it was 71 million that they agreed to do in 5 phases. It's probably 100 million now. And we're sitting here trying to make an argument about $200,000 if we ever have to spend $200,000. And not only that, I think I heard Mr. Murphy say last week, well, you know, you only got 130 customers in this first phase. How are you going to do it with 130 customers? Well, we've done it for 20 years with less than 30 customers in Ellisville. The argument you're making does not hold water, guys. I'm just telling you, it does not hold water. The argument does not hold water.
Okay. Well, I'll say this about that. You're comparing 27 and 47, the intersection of those two roads, to I-75 and 41 south. And it was not put there as a residential, mainly residential, you know, it wasn't there, we need sewer for residential. It was put there for economic development, jobs, and gas station, all the things that come with an interstate that has 10 times or probably more than that the traffic than 27 and 47. I understand what you're saying. I get it. But we're talking about two completely different things. And the other thing is the interstate interchange was a county project. This is a city project. It is not our project. Whoa. I'll let you speak.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll let you speak. It's a city project. This is an independent town doing something for their town. So that's not Ellisville. And Ellisville is an interchange, a major interchange in the state of Florida with, I don't know the exact traffic count, but it's unbelievable. But to compare those two it's just like the mega industrial park. You know, we went out to the mega industrial park and I'll be honest with you, I voted against the sewer plant there because it was a $35 million sewer plant. And we said, let's do that. Or I didn't, but we passed it. And not even knowing that it was going to be $1 million a year to keep that up. I didn't know that. That was never told to me because we were, I guess, in a hurry or whatever. And I don't know that Mr. Ford knew it. But if I had known it was going to be $1 million a year to maintenance a sewer plant that's not going to be used, still it right now doesn't have any customers, not one. I would have tried to opt for the $3 million option, and I know we spoke about it, Mr. Ford, and you said that wasn't good. And, you know, we had a discussion about it in the boardroom. And right now, we've borrowed money to do that thing, and this isn't just about Fort White. This isn't a cut on Fort White at all because I got family in Fort White. I'm all for Fort White, but we've gotten in a hurry to spend money. We spent it on a reporter building. It's $440,000 deep just putting a roof and getting asbestos out of it. That would have hurried thing out of budget. This is out of budget. And I said last time I voted on a reporter building, I voted no on it because it was out of budget. And I feel like our county, the way it's been run the last 30 or 40 years, is a fiscally conservative county. We make sure that we take care of our money, and that's why we're able to pick up limbs. That's why we got a huge amount of money and one of the best financially sound counties in the state. If we keep doing these, let's hurry it up, let's do it out of budget, let's spend this money, to me, it starts getting you in trouble. You know, we still have citizens in this county that need all the things they need. The people that voted us in, we're all for economic development, but the thing is, the people that are paying the bill for this and for everything else are the taxpayers. And the taxpayers deserve for us to watch out for it and say, all right, are we getting too deep? And in my opinion, we need to whoa up on some of the projects. I'll just say it right out. I get it, but it's one comes every year, a new one. we're just banging them out. And I still think that we could have got away with a $3 million and may have had some money in my mind if we'd have gotten away with the $3 million sewer plant, because it would service everybody at this national park for the next year and at least the next 2 or 3 years or 4 years, because we don't even have anybody starting to build out there. So it's just a situation where I want the taxpayer of Columbia County who is paying this bill to be confident that we are taking care of their money. And we have so many projects going on. I think we just got to temper it and take care of the taxpayers' dollars, because I want to see some return on some of the ones we have now. But now we're going into another one immediately. And I do not believe that it's just going to be $200,000. And I know Rocky has a different opinion, but that's why I still can't get the question answered. So it sounds like to me that by what Rocky's saying is we're going to pay the bill for everything. Is that what we're saying? Because if that's it, just tell me. Don't. I mean, if that's it, Rocky, just tell me.
Let me address your.
Okay.
Let me address it. Number one, this is no budget item right now. We're not doing anything out of budget. This plant's going to take 1.5 years, 2 years to build. So to say we're doing this out of budget, that's a ridiculous argument to start with. We're not doing anything in this year's budget. We're not spending any money out of this year's budget. And the next thing I would add, you said 27 is not a major highway.
Not
so. What? Have you ever traveled through down 27 through Tallahassee, Williston, Ocala, or even on further south, Sebring and all? So what I'm telling you is I can remember when I was a kid driving down 27. We used to drive back and forth to Miami. My dad had a job in Miami. You could travel down 27. At that time, there wasn't nothing on 27. You can't drive down to 27 now. I mean, it takes, if you get off at the turnpike and go south, it's 2 or 3 hours to try to get 30, 40 miles in effect in rush hour traffic. So to say 27 is not a major highway, you need to come down there and sit at B&B or at my office one day and watch the traffic going by in front of my office down on 27. If you don't think that's a major highway. And I can go ahead and tell you right now, I know we have some major big businesses anticipating what they're coming into Fort White now if the sewer in Fort White goes in. So the budget, this is no budget effect at all. No budget effect at all right now. It's 1.5 years, 2 years down the road. A lot of things can happen in 1.5 years, 2 years. To sit here and try to argue about who's going to pay for it or how they going to pay for it, we got plenty of time to prepare. Fort White's got plenty of time to prepare for that. It's not anything on us right now to have to do that. Right now, all they're asking us to do is administer the grant and help them acquire right of way. And I would also add, this come up at the last meeting, and it was a 5-0 vote to help Fort White. And the same argument was argued last week or 2 weeks ago. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know why we're at this point. It was already voted on. And Chairman, I make a motion that we pass this ordinance or this sewer interlocal. And the motion's on the floor.
Okay,
I have more discussion.
yeah, I do too.
We did that last time.
I'm gonna second the motion, but I want to say something before I second it. If you ain't got equipment to work on your job, what are you gonna have? Nothing.
Okay.
Okay,
Can I say a couple more things?
go ahead.
Rocky, to compare Highway 27 to going to Sebring, people don't drive to Sebring on 27 anymore. I'm not being a smart mouth. And if you want to look at the traffic counts, it's at least 10 times more coming down 75. And I'm not even counting 41. I'm never counting 41. It's 10 times. It's 60,000 people a day. On 27, it's probably about 6. And you can look that up if you want to. On AADT, it's a traffic count. But I'm not mad at Fort White. I'm not mad at anybody. But this is a city project, and I think I've gotten my answer. We're going to pay for it. It's not going to be. And if you say that us finding out we're going to have to pay $200,000 to $300,000 for the next, and you're comparing it to 441, so let's go ahead and go 15 years. for the next 15 years. If you think we don't need to prepare for that in this year's budget, we need to prepare for that expenditure to start coming out and be a recurring expenditure for, like you said, we've been at 441, 15 or 20 years, and we're doing this for the town of Fort White because I do not believe Fort White can pay for it. And I'm not mad at them about that. I'm just trying to get the real truth. And maybe, just maybe, while last week's vote happened for me, was I needed to get more information and find out who's paying for it. Because we've only known about this for 2 weeks. That was the first time I'd heard about it right before that. So I like to research this stuff. I know that we get in a hurry a lot of times, like the reporter building and like the big sewer plant we did, but I don't want to get in a hurry. This is taxpayers' dollars, and I'm not just going to get in a hurry and go, oh, we got to do it. We got to do it now. It's not my fault that this thing's been out here a year or two being processed. This should have been talked about months before last year sometime. I know that it had to be on the agenda last year if you were doing this work for the sewer system. They don't just give a grant in 3 months or 2 weeks. So if it was just finished up, it might have been the third phase, or I don't know, but I'm not, I want Fort White to have everything they can have, but to say it's not going to affect our budget for this year, the next year, and the coming years, yeah, maybe we don't write a check next year, but I promise you we're going to have to cut some services around this county for the other taxpayers because it's something that's going to be a reoccurring every year and will go into the millions. Now, I understand that there's businesses wanting to come into Fort White. I'm sure there is. I don't see any of those. I'd like to see some of those that have promised to come in. I don't think there are any because you know how the promise is. We got a lot of promises out there at the $35 million plant too. So to me, I've got to know what my taxpayers are spending. I want to know what they're fixing to face before I vote yes or no on something. And I believe that if this vote today goes yes, that it may be the final step. And the next step is going to be y'all starting construction. And when that happens, we're paying for it. It's just a done deal. So I don't know if there's a transition time between now and when that happens. If there's a day I can say, but to me, it's like leading somebody on. I don't want to pay for it. Like, I don't want to spend that kind of money for something when we've got all these other irons in the fire. That's just my opinion as a commissioner, and I have the right to it. And Rocky, you have yours, buddy.
Ron, Joe?
I'll take that. That's okay.
Chairman,
I'm sorry, Commissioner had a quick question.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
I'm super green at this, but is there a way that this could be, I know we've already got a motion and a second and all that, but is there a way this can be tabled and just kind of do a workshop, maybe a study, as to see exactly what's what? Because it's totally green to me. So just to,
Commissioner Parnell, comments of it, yes, we have to start buying right away immediate, or town got to start acquiring right away immediate. There's a deadline on this grant right now for December 31st.
Procedurally, Mr. Parnell, though, I'll answer his question. Procedurally, there is a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. Those two gentlemen will have to agree to take the motion back off the floor, and that would open it up for a table. Okay. So until that happens, we're in the position we are. I do want to the extent there is a motion on the floor and it looks like it might be adopted, and I know you guys are all kind of fresh at looking at this. Section 6 was drafted very specifically for the concerns that have been raised right now. It reads in its entirety, consideration the town shall pay to the county's incurred costs evidenced by itemized invoices of all performance rendered hereunder. So anything that the county incurs under the scopes within this agreement, which again, very limited, invoicing shall be completed in such a way as to best ensure the town's reimbursement for all such incurred costs pursuant to the grant agreement, which means we'll try to conform our invoices so that they can be reimbursable. However, but in no event shall the town be relieved of its obligation to pay such invoices if the grant agreement for any reason does not provide for reimbursement. So to address the concern about incurred costs, they're the towns one way or the other. So if they get it reimbursed by the grant, that's fantastic for them, but the county's costs get reimbursed, get paid no matter what. And I also want to, I think I'm hearing the discussion. We were very careful. When I say we, I mean I was very careful to craft this in such a way that we limited the scope. And I fully appreciate the disagreement and the discussion that's happened between the boards, or excuse me, between the commissioners. this was drafted with that in mind, right? So that you're not committing beyond this. I think Commissioner Hollingsworth's point is right. If it goes forward, I would also add, with their new council and with their new focus, if the county doesn't provide administrative support, they can get it from other people. So I don't know that not doing this stops anything from being built. That makes sense, Commissioner Hollingsworth. So I think Commissioner Hollingsworth's concerns are well founded. I'm not trying to argue against those. I'm just saying we could do this. The city of Lake City could step in and do this for them. Anybody who has a procurement office could step in and do this for them. They just asked us to do it first. We've written this in such a way that we are very protected. And I feel obligated to share with all 5 of you that that's the way it was done.
Joe, let me ask you a question. So anything further than what's in this interlocal agreement would have to come back before this board to be voted on and approved. Is that correct?
Commissioner, again, it's very limited in scope. There's 4 areas of the grant agreement that the grant covered, according to the amendment. And they're all enumerated. But if you look at the end of each paragraph, I said the county's obligations hereunder are expressly limited to gathering documentation and reporting information to aid the town in its compliance with the grant agreement and shall not be construed to include the county's performance of any other duties. So that paragraph appears in there, that sentence appears in there like 4 times. Because I'm trying to because again, these things get very hairy, very fast. And so I was, in light of the time constraint, and Commissioner Murphy's right and Commissioner Ford's right, the town did share with us, they feel very time constrained. And to Commissioner Hollingsworth's point, yeah, this is an older grant agreement. I think this might go back as far as 21, but the last amendment was done in 24. And I don't want to be unfair to this council. We didn't have the level of cooperation we have now until maybe the last 30 days, maybe the last 2 weeks. So I think if we can, as a board, and again, now I'm using the royal we, I actually mean you guys, look at it with fresh eyes and understand that you are putting a toe in the water, but I made sure it's only a toe. Now, to Commissioner Parnell's point, if there does need to be a further analysis, and I think Commissioner Murphy, your idea is go ahead and let them start the procurement by piggybacking with our procurement guys, and then let this be looked at another time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, there's options here. The motion that's on the floor is on the floor. It will have to be addressed, or it can be withdrawn. But there's a lot here, and I feel like I've got a hand tied behind my back because I want all 5 of you to understand it. And because of how quickly this moved, I'm not confident that all 5 of you understand it.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rob.
What I'm saying is let's just say we help them with procurement. When is the tipping point? When does if we do all the procurement and all that, that's pretty much the last step to getting the grant and building the.
Well, they have the grant.
Well, what I'm saying is being able to spend the grant. They'll have everything in order and they'll be able to spend the grant.
They need administrative support.
What I want to ask you is you're saying that your agreement says that we will not have to pay to run this sewer system.
Says we won't do the sewer. We don't run the sewer system. It specifically
We will
says
not.
we are not agreeing to
Okay.
do that right now. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. You're
Hold on.
absolutely right.
I got another
The
question.
statute says when a utility is abandoned, and you can involuntarily abandon the utility, right?
Yeah.
DEP can bring.
Well, if you
enforcement
can't
action.
pay for it, yeah.
Well, DEP brings an enforcement action. They go in front of a judge and they say they can't run it, so treat it as abandoned. And next thing you know, it does. You're absolutely.
It does revert to us.
Under
So-
that situation.
So in the end, if Fort White can't pay for it, and I think that could happen, we will have to pay for it. So that was my question. I didn't want to get in an argument. I just want to know what the situation was. If they can't pay for it, we will end up paying for it, even if, under not any of our control. If we say no with your agreement, it's not going to happen. It's going to be given to us no matter what you said in this agreement or no what anybody else
This
said.
agreement doesn't deal with that at all.
Right.
What I'm saying to you, though, Commissioner, is the county is not the only entity or agency that can provide these.
That
services.
may, that's a may, yeah, maybe.
So my
Do we
point
have a
was-
commitment from someone that would, that says
No,
they
no, no.
would do? Okay.
No, I
Because
just.
that's my issue. And I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just trying to
So what you're saying, Joe, really is this thing can get built no matter what. Whether we help them or not, it can get built. And at the end of the day, if it fails, whether we help them build it or not, if it fails, it's still gonna fall back on the county. Am I correct?
Not necessarily.
Well, and so my point was, if they go out, let's say they go out and hire a grant administrator, or they go out and hire a private procurement outfit and say, yeah, go follow the statute, go do all that stuff. They could theoretically still do that. And the reason I think there's a lack of understanding of it, and that's fair, that it's a 7-page agreement that you got like less than 12 hours ago. It's fair to not know this. Not entering into this agreement doesn't mean there's never going to be a sewer plant. That's not what it means. That it can't mean that, right? Because it's still their ball, it's their baby. So, and I don't want. I'm hesitant to make a recommendation or to give advice on this, but my advice would pretty much be right now that maybe we need more time to look at this. But if there's a way to craft a solution that works for the town, I think what Commissioner Murphy has suggested does actually get the town to where they had told us they need to go, which is immediately into procurement.
And
So-
Joe, if I may, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean
No,
to-
that was the end of it.
But if I may, and that's why I've been sitting there, because I concur with Rocky 95% of the points he made. Agreed with it. Do I think sewage is going to enhance the Fort White community? Absolutely 100%. I want our, am I for protecting our natural resources? Damn right I am. But I want to do it right. You heard me in this, right here in this room a couple weeks ago, Scott and David. I ain't agreeing to no damn grants until I understand the whole thing and what, if you fix to see that in a minute. So my point is that I also asked you, is Fort White going to have some representation, professional representation here, such as Greg Bailey? Because that's my understanding, he's the one that procured this last $12.2 million grant.
He procured all of the grants.
Excuse me?
He procured all the
Okay.
grants.
So, and I'm not saying North Florida, nobody's wrong here. I just got to, I don't understand some of the, and I agree with Rocky. Rocky's right. We're not fighting the point of, we're not debating the point of cost of operation. Now, personally, from what Clay County shared with the North Florida Water Utility a couple weeks ago, I think $200,000 is an imaginary number. But that number was established by the company, to my understanding, if I understood you correctly, David, that was established by North Florida in some conversation or so. And not put North Florida because they do work for us every day. I'm not beating up on North Florida. I got a lot of questions I need to ask. And that's my point. When I thought about this thing, thought about it. And, you know, I was talking to utilities and Mr. Ford, I'm going to ask him to give us all an update because we made a stride today on the North Florida Water Utility Board that I think is going to be a great thing in the future. You know, we actually chose a director today to start moving that thing forward. And me personally, I foresee this operation, and that would have to be a commitment out of, you know, not put Fort White Council on the spot, but as I said one time before, Fort White, you know, a gentleman down in Fort White, he said, well, we don't want to give up what is ours. You ain't got nothing. And so my point is that we're here to help you. And I don't even want to call it big brother. I'm wanting to call it neighbor. I'm here to help, but I'm going to understand what I'm helping with to the exact. And I'm not saying we're going to understand the whole point, but nobody on this board, nobody in our administration is qualified to give us a bona fide hardcore number as to what it's going to take to operate this thing. Because Rocky is exactly right. When I sat in that audience out there in that shadow, when they did the Ellisville thing, it was on the web. Dale was back there. Dale did the promotion and everything. And it was one of them deals where you build it and we help it come. You're exactly right. But I want to have the plan because just like I argued in here 3 weeks ago, the money, all these reserves that everybody talks about, it ain't what we think it is, people. It's hard numbers. We all know that. And are we in trouble? Absolutely not. But I've made a commitment. I'm going to be diligent, more so because I understand the numbers, and I look at it this way. I made a bunch of bad investments on my personal side. I'm not making bad investments and I'm not saying this is a bad investment. This is a great thing for North Florida. But I simply say, having a conversation the other day with the senator, there's a lot of commitments that we got to make and this council's got to make right now. Is this council strong enough and willing enough that everybody lives in Fort White, you going on this system? It don't matter what. Because due to the computation, 133 is $165,000 a house that the state of Florida taxpayers are investing in Fort White today. And that's not including the $100 million that Rocky's right. Because the whole discussion, when Rocky and a couple others took the time to go to Tallahassee and sit down with DEP seen the picture, I think, that there's one day we could possibly get every single house in Three Rivers Estate off of septic tanks, which is a great thing, a super great thing. But, I don't think, I asked the board to simply, we got a motion second, but I had no problem taking another step, but I don't want to hold Fort White up from going forward. And I feel like our procurement, because that's what, because this thing can blow up real quick. And I don't want to say blow up, that's the wrong choice of words, but, I'm just going to, we've all seen it. I see the procurement, property acquisition thing the other day for less than 2 acres of land, $110,000. Do the math, and I don't care. You could get everybody in this room sitting there and say, oh man, this is great for Fort White, this is great for Fort White. But whenever they see that dollar sign, guess what? That little palm tree out there just went $350,000. It happens every day. Everybody sitting in this room knows that happens. So, but what I have recommended, I feel like is not holding them up one iota. But that's my opinion. But
so I got.
Go ahead, Rob.
So you brought up something just now. I went to Tallahassee. David went to Tallahassee. Mr. Bob White went to Tallahassee. When we was in Tallahassee, we brought it back to this board. DEP wants us to make a commitment that we would help Fort White if they approve this grant. Coming for this board agreed, yes, we would help Fort White. We sat in a meeting in Fort White and we agreed to help Fort White. Now, some of y'all wasn't on the board at this time. I understand that boards change every day. But at the end of the day, we made a commitment to DEP and to the town of Fort White that we would be a part of this and we would help them. And we give our word to DEP that we would partner with Fort White on this and help them. That is the whole reason why this grant got approved in the first place. Now we're going to go back and tell DEP, sorry, bud, but things have changed. We're not going to help them anymore. They're on their own. And take a chance on sending $20 million back to Tallahassee that they're giving us to take septic tanks off our rivers and streams and our springs.
That's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying then, Tim?
Okay, I'll make it clear one more time. I'm willing to, I'm not abandoning Fort White. I'm not abandoning the commitment that we give collectively as a board to DEP at that time. But what I'm saying that I've got to understand, I want this picture drawn out, because without a plan, it's no more different than running through that dang door right there into a war and you ain't got a plan.
Well, we got 2 years to make a plan.
No. And that's where that's the 5% of the 95 that me and you disagree on. And we just got to agree to disagree. Knowing every commissioner sitting on this board, even the most newest, knows good and well, not understanding these grants has bit us in the butt before.
Well, let's give.
And this is not our grant.
Let's give the council.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think everybody heard this, but Mayor, please, thank you for being so patient.
First of all, let me say to the Chairman Murphy, I didn't mean any disrespect. I thought I was being called on to speak, so.
You're good.
And I'll also,
Name for the clerk, please.
George Thomas, Mayor of the town of Fort White. And I'll also, to be fair, I understand your concern, Commissioner Hollingsworth, and yours as well, Commissioner Murphy. It's not, I get it. If something came before the town council of Fort White, I'd be asking those same exact questions, to be fair. I think it's a very big assumption, though, to say, and Commissioner Murphy said the same thing, it's not necessarily going to fall on the county. You know, it would be, you know, based on what Mr. Kraus said, pretty negligent of the town of Fort White and of the town council to get to a point where the plant is such a catastrophic failure that the state of Florida then steps in and says, you're on the hook. And even though it is a small percent chance, I get it. That's what you need to mitigate against, right? That's what your constituents voted. I understand that. I'm being very open and honest. I will say that is a small chance. There are other, whether it be through utility authority, whether it be through Lake City, et cetera. Have we hammered it out from step 1 to step 20? If we fail at this point, will Lake City? No, to be fair, we haven't. To be fair, I will say what is in front of us now, the scope of this agreement, doesn't obligate you in any way. So we won the grant, right? So as far as this interlocal is concerned, it's administrative support. Any cost incurred by the county, the town would pay back, most likely through the grant. Our attorney, Michael Pope, confirmed that with Kylie Reeves or Kylie Rees, however you pronounce her name, from DEP.
Say that again. I didn't understand.
So whatever cost that is incurred through acquisition of any easements, that would be able to be reimbursed through the grant.
So if I understand you right, you're saying that somebody at DEP has told you, you send them the bill, they'll send you the money back.
Has told, yes, Michael Pope, our attorney, he told us at the meeting last night.
Okay, that's one of the things that,
Yes.
in my research, not to cut you off, but that's exactly a question, and that's great, but, and I don't even know who your attorney is these days, but my point is that I heard y'all got a new one, I'm happy for you, but my point is that that's great, that's what needs to be in this agreement, that we understand these things.
Absolutely, and it is.
No, it's not, but go ahead.
No, Mr. Foreman, is it?
Yeah, they're obligated to pay.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
They are obligated to pay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but furthermore, we are obligated to pay in such a way, and that's what I think Mr. Foreman's comment was, he would invoice it in such a way that it would be reimbursed through the grant. So that specific verbiage is in the agreement. So what Mr. Foreman said, that this Board of Commissioners here is very protected, at least as it comes to this agreement. Now, Commissioner Hollingsworth, you have other points which are valid and legitimate, and we'll maybe discuss those here in a minute. But as far as the scope of this agreement, as far as this Board of County Commissioners is concerned, it's administrative support. And any cost that you do incur has to be paid, has to be borne by the town of Fort White, and will be done in such a way, and this is what our attorney, Michael Pope is his name, by the way, will be reimbursed through the grant. So that's that, but let me,
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
You finish now, or go ahead and say what you want to say. If you got something else, I just want to ask you a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I understand that you're saying that the things we're doing right now, that y'all wanting to do right now, if that is done and you get the grant, you're going to spend that $20 million on the plant, correct?
So it's two. So it's the first. There's a grant for $9.8 million.
However much.
But yes,
however much.
yes.
Whatever. When you get the grant, if we vote for this, you will use acquisition people from the county, and then you will apply and you will get the grant. Then you will take the grant and start building the plant, right? I mean,
Yeah, so
that's the process, right?
chronologically, that's how it would happen. So the grant was approved, but once we start incurring those expenditures, yes, it would be reimbursed to us through the grant, and we'd be able to make those payments.
Right. You're talking about building the plant. And you got to understand, I'm not talking about building the plant. I'm talking about voting for something that is going to allow you to build the plant. And then we are going to have to pay for it for the next however many years. And that's why I want to ask you the question. Can you afford, now we're talking about a $20,000 a month thing. So I think it'll be more than that because I don't see the city making people hook up to a sewer, but they may, I don't know. That's probably not a popular thing. So what I'm saying is, do you now, or will you be able to maintain that plant at a minimum of $20,000 a month with what your city has and what you bring in? I mean, is that a possibility that you can do that? Because like I said, if you can't, it will come to us to do it. Even if, when you say, and I would never believe that Fort White would purposely just dump a plant and go, we're just going to not do anything. I don't believe that. It's not about you guys dumping the plant or saying we're going to let it get degraded or anything like that. It's just a fact that you won't be able to pay to make it, to keep it going. It's not your fault. It's just the amount of money that you take in, I don't believe will do it. But if you can tell me it will, then I would be much more available to say, okay, go ahead and take the next step, because that next step procures the money pays for the plant, and then you pay for the plant to run every month. But in my mind, I'm hearing, we'll build the plant, we'll give you money back for procurement and small things like that. But when you're not saying this, but I'm just asking, then when it's built, it will be our expense to run it for the city. I think that's what I'm asking.
Mayor, could I just cut in a minute?
I mean, because nobody's ever said, yes, that's what's going to happen. We're still dancing around it.
So Robbie, that question's been answered twice.
Okay, so we're going to pay.
Listen, they have options. David just said the city of Lake City said they would go down there and operate the plant. They've said that, right, David?
Steve Brown said that.
Steve Brown said that. They would go down there and operate the plant. There is other municipalities, or not municipalities, but utility authorities that work for the government utilities. They could go down there and run the plant. The utility authority, the Water Utility Authority, could operate and run this plant if it needs to be. What I'm telling you is they have options. It's not going to necessarily fall on the county. If the county says, we're not going to do it, this board's got the right to chance to vote. They can say, we're not going to do it. You need to seek outside help. They can do that. So you seem to be beating a dead horse here.
And I know, and we're in such a hurry, we can't get Steve in here, and we can't get the people that'll, I understand.
In all fairness to the city of Lake City,
So you're saying the city of Lake City right now, will take this plan on at the deficit it will be at. You're saying that.
Did they just do it at Mega Industrial Park?
What I can say is that
It's not,
on multiple occasions, the city of Lake City has indicated that they would like to provide water and sewer county-wide and are not afraid of doing that, and have not approached the town of Fort White but because of the county's relationship with the town of Fort White.
Okay, but I think
So let me ask you a question.
But I can't speak to the town, to
Who's
the
got
city
the
of Lake
crystal
City.
ball? I mean, where's the crystal ball that everybody's looking at? They can see 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road. I don't have that crystal ball. I know that. I mean, Mr. Kirby, do you have that crystal ball? You have given me plenty of opposition against his speaking up about you. You just can't. You just got to stop.
Okay, Karen, hold on. Okay, here's go. Thank you, Kevin. I think that's a broad statement, with the city, without giving the city defense to be here. And I personally believe that, as Rocky said, there are options out here. Do I think once this thing takes place, is it gonna number one, I think once there is a real plan to put sewage in Fort White, there will be a grocery store there. And I think things will build upon. I don't deny that a bit. I'm not arguing, no, hold on a minute. I'm not arguing that a bit. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not against this agreement, Tim Murphy personally, I just want to understand it more. So I understand what Joel's saying. I think Joel's put plenty of teeth into this thing. But Tim Murphy has put an option up there to keep this ball rolling. They can go to work tomorrow morning by what I've offered up here.
Yes.
So with this being said, Mayor, you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I'll answer, Commissioner Hall. So, and I think our county, that it's a city plan. Large part really is a state plan. There is huge, so we haven't even begun construction. We just got notified that we got another 12 million and the number of hookups. Well, now we don't even have it. We have to plan. And those economies of scales will make it more sustainable. Can I sit here before you today and tell you 100? No, I to your point, no, I can't, and I won't. I think it's impossible. I'm out.
Mayor, also while you're talking, just to address that, it's a city project. This phase 3 that you just got the 12 million for, that takes it into the county too. There's going to be 10 times as many hookups in the county as there are in the town of Fort White if this goes through. You're talking about all 3 river states, all the way down 27.
And I'm not denying that none whatsoever. Like I said, I agree with, 95% of what has been said here tonight to that point. But at this point, we're beating a dead horse. We need to decide whether or not. You have anything else real quick?
I'll just say the last thing is, yeah, no problem. The last thing is,
Charging back up.
I do understand your concern, Commissioner Murphy and Commissioner Hollings.
You've already said that about 3 times, so give up.
Yeah, like I said, but I feel like it's putting the cart before the horse, understanding that there are other options, even if it were to go the route that we needed financial assistance, to just assume right out of the gate that an agreement that's administrative, limited in scope, where Fort White is on the hook for all the money, for a plant that won't be billed and won't incur any cost outside of grant costs for another 2 years, which will then have another 12 million to begin probably another 2. So to 4 or 5 years, 6 years down the road, if maybe we need help and maybe it's so bad that we need it and is forced upon this board to in April of 2025 say, hey, let's nix this agreement just for administrative support. While I understand where you're coming from, I'll just say I do think my opinion is that's a little premature.
Okay, everybody got
but
I have to say.
So we have a motion and a second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor for Rocky's motions, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye.
No.
So, hand count?
I just wanted more,
Okay.
Everybody has to vote.
Sorry.
Madam Clerk, what's the count on, do a roll call for me.
I can tell you, I didn't say anything, so I know
Let's,
it's too.
Mr. Chair, we need to roll call. Make
Okay,
sure.
roll call. Okay, all in favor of the motion. Rocky, would you mind restating the motion? just
Mr.
for-
Chair, just have her call each commissioner's name and they can say yay or nay.
Okay, but
The motion on the floor is to approve the interlocal agreement with the town of Fort White on procurement of the sewage system and right-of-way acquisition. To approve it.
you got a motion? You got a second? All of,
You want to know our votes?
No.
Call them out one at a time.
Yeah, roll call, please, if you don't
We're
mind.
going to roll call.
Okay, Everett Phillips.
Yeah.
That was a yes for Everett
Yeah,
Phillips.
I'll approve it, yeah.
Commissioner Tim Murphy,
No.
Commissioner Bobby Hollingsworth.
No.
Commissioner
Yes.
Hollingsworth, Commissioner Kevin Snow.
I'm only going no because I want more of a plan on this. That's the only thing. I want to help Fort White, but I just want more of a plan going into the future for it. That's the only reason why I would say no. I want to help you guys out dearly, but I need more of a plan on it. That's all.
So what do you need to know?
Just the plan for the future for White. That's all.
Okay, what I will
And
do,
if we're going to be on the hook for it.
Mr. Chair, now that the motion is disposed, your proposal to use the procurement agents,
I'm gonna
that
put
would
that
be
in the
another
motion.
motion. Okay, thanks.
okay, I'd like to put it in a motion that the county get with whoever is the go-to person with Fort White, be it y'all, or Catherine, and, I guess North Florida, whoever, whatever, to pass on the information where they can get their land acquisition process in place. Let it start rolling tomorrow. Then we can bring together all these questions and come back. I may call a workshop relevant to this and get these things ironed out, because there's a way to iron this out, but this way it keeps the process rolling. Y'all can go start acquiring land tomorrow if you can do it.
And Mr. Chair, consent to have them piggyback on our contract as well?
Consent to.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll just rephrase it, Joe. I'll make a motion for the Fort White to be able to piggyback off of our acquisition contracts as they are according to our contracts. And I'll put that in a motion.
And so that means they're gonna follow suit with what we have, and we're gonna come back to this with more knowledge as to a plan.
Correct. What the motion, what I mean by the motion, just to clear it up, is that David will get with Catherine tomorrow and whoever's representing the city at that time, or city of Fort White. We're gonna give them all the information for our acquisition agent, set them up, do your meetings, do whatever you do. And then this way, the city of Fort White can give clear direction to the acquisition agent. These are the properties that we need. Here you go. This is the process of doing it. They can get the ball rolling. Because like Rocky said, to some degree, there is a time frame. I can't help that the city of Fort White's management has put y'all in this place in the past. Yeah, fresh air, I'm tickled to death. Everybody sitting here. First time I've seen this since I've been a board member. But so with that being said, that is by form of motion. And that obligates us to nothing at all, the county.
And it keeps the ball rolling for.
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't mind seconding that, but I would like to have something in place our next meeting. Is that unfair?
You want to have a bunch of workshops?
Well, we'll have to have workshops. We gotta
What
get
do
it
you mean,
straight.
something in place?
Something in place as a workshop or something where we can discuss how we need to know exactly what's going on.
Look at the schedule. I mean,
if we can do that, if not, I don't mind seconding your motion whatsoever, because I believe we need to go ahead with the process, just like you're getting there where they can go ahead now to start acquisition.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Matt, so what's happened, Madam Clerk, motion is to authorize Town of Fort White to piggyback on our procurement contracts. Commissioner Phillips is seconded. Gentlemen, what you're doing for the town, I'm sorry.
Not procurement. Acquisition.
Acquisition agent
Okay.
contracts. I apologize. What you're doing is saving the town from having to go out and do their own procurement to hire those people. So you're buying them significant time, and as Commissioner Murphy indicated, it allows them to go to work tomorrow. Mr. Phillips, what you've suggested will be an administrative matter we can talk about after, which is what do we do with the interlocal agreement now? So the motion on the floor is Commissioner Murphy's motion.
Yeah, one second.
And I would urge the city to talk to the city of Lake City. I've never heard of that. I'd like to hear what Steve Brown says. I'd love to hear that. And I mean, if somebody's willing to take this over or do something in the future, okay?
And all that can be discussed in a workshop. But at this point in time, we got a motion. Is that a second? Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No. And I want to just add one more thing before we get off this subject. So some people have put it out there that I'm all for this sewer project because I need sewer in Fort White. I just want to make it clear, Rocky Ford don't need any sewer in Fort White.
That's right.
Rocky Ford needs nothing for sewer in Fort White. The citizens of Fort White need sewer for a grocery store and amenities to serve the people in Fort White.
I agree.
And I would add it too, that those are our constituents in Fort White. We get all the tax revenue for ad valorem tax from the citizens of Fort White. Every dollar of it. Every dollar of it.
Great.
So I think y'all have really just set this county back, is what I think y'all have just done. And I'm telling you, I think the state's gonna look at what we have just done, and they're gonna look at our future of the county. And I think they're gonna probably wonder where we're at and why should they really invest in Columbia County.
Okay. All right.
And I also, Mr. Kirby, when you're making your way up, you have a lot to do with the utilities in the county. You have a lot to do with the utilities. and you have voiced to me great opposition to the utilities in the county, that the utilities are gonna be the death of Columbia County. What is your plan for Columbia County as the assistant county manager?
Okay,
I would just like to know what our plan is.
we'll get to that at the workshop, Rob.
What I have,
No, because we're out of order.
what I'm just saying,
I'm
I
calling the meeting to order. And Kevin, if you don't mind, have a seat. These people have been sitting here so patiently for COPCN. I'm gonna rearrange a little bit of time because I know y'all like to go home. And you can, I know y'all learn a lot.
Whatever you need.
David, if you would, bring them up for that there, please. And y'all can stay all night long. I just want to give you the option to be able to go home if you wanted to, okay?
Okay, this is coming real quick. So this is Stat Ambulance Company. They have requested a certificate of public conveyance and need and necessity, COPCN. We have no ordinance on that, limiting what we can and can't approve when it comes to COPCNs. It does include resolution number 2025R-13, which would actually provide them with that COPCN. We have vetted them. They are licensed in the state of Florida. They're actually out of, I believe, the Bradenton area. They have met with Lance Hill just today or yesterday. They have indicated that they would be willing to provide mutual aid to the county should we need it with our 911 system when we get down to level 0. And with that, I'd like to have them come and introduce themselves.
Good evening, guys. Thank you for having us. We appreciate you taking the opportunity to give us a chance to get a COPCN for the county. We operate because there is a national shortage of EMT paramedics, as we all know. We have the ability to bring an ambulance here or two, and more as the need arises. We've already talked to the hospital. We talked to Lance. There is a need. If you were having a heart attack out there and an ambulance couldn't come to you, would you be upset? We're giving you the opportunity to have something else. Yes, you have a 911 system in place, but we're giving you that other option. If they can't do their job because they're out on another emergency, we're here to take that place. All it requires you to do is call our office. They'll send a truck. Our plan is to have the ambulance posted at the hospital. It'll be there 24 hours a day. We'll have paramedics and EMTs on there until we can find a local business here. I talked to Lancers, I guess, with the amount of businesses that's went out because of the lottery or the gambling, there's plenty of places for us to go. So we will be putting an ambulance here at a station. I would like to introduce my staff here, some of them. John Kincaid, he's our COO. He's a paramedic registrar RN. My beautiful wife, Cherie, which is my backbone. She is going to help out with that. She's our head of PR and public relations, and our operations manager, Richard Parr. He is a workhorse. He works 36 hours at a time. So we're here not only to provide support to the county, we're here to provide support for the company, meaning the citizens. If a citizen needs something, we're always there. Baseball games, football games, things like that. We go there. We do all those type of things. We volunteer. There's a lot of things we do. We're not doing it because it's a money-making scheme. We do it because we love it. As you know, EMS and fire, we don't make a whole lot. Medicare bases what we do. We're only given a certain amount of money, but we've managed to do this for 4 years. John, myself, Richard, Cherie, we have over 100 years of experience in this. We've been doing it a long time. We're here to, hopefully, you give us approval to do that here as part of the community.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all your time hearing us out.
Yes, sir.
Any
Okay.
questions for me? Anything you want to know?
It's encouraging. I currently chair the 911 steering committee, and of course, it's a conversation all the time. You know, our current providers are doing a good job. There are times when you don't have enough. We're a growing community, and we all understand that. But so it sounds like you're already working with Lance, who can put you in contact. So it sounds like things are good. So we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, with that being said, seek a motion.
I move we approve
2025.
resolution 2025.
Or
Give me that.
13.
I can't see that far.
Revolution 2025 R13 COs, PCN Stat Ambulance Company.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience. Okay, Mr. Kirby?
The first item on the agenda for discussion is down in Ellisville. So as we discussed, we're preparing potentially to put the next 25,000 gallon plant in. We also know with everything that's currently happening there, that will just buy us a Band-Aid. So we know at the end of the day, we need to build a big sewer plant down there. David and I have worked together trying to get the USDA on board to help us with that final step. The USDA is like all big government agencies, there's a lot of red tape. So you're required to do a preliminary engineering report to check the boxes, the hydrology, the location. You know, right now the plan is to ultimately build the big sewer plant down there where the water plant is on the other end of the property. So to check those boxes, we need to spend $265,000 to check those boxes. Okay, so I'm requesting a motion to approve BA 2536, Ellisville Wastewater Treatment Plant, preliminary engineering report in an amount of $265,000.
Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this $265,000 in the budget for this year?
Yes, sir. Utility.
Specifically, it's coming from, if you look on your BA form, it is coming for reserves for future enhancements for sewer and water.
So my question is, was it budgeted for this year?
If you consider the budgeting for future enhancements, and this is a future enhancement, then yes. If you don't, then no.
Okay, my second question. This 500,000 gallon a day treatment plant, that's the same size we've got at the mega industrial park, right?
Correct.
So how much is it gonna cost to maintain and operate this plant if we build it?
I do not have those numbers this time.
So, I mean, I just heard Mr. Murphy say a while ago that we're not applying for any more grants unless we know exactly what everything's going to cost and where we're going to get the money from. So how much is it going to cost and where we're going to get the money from?
The USDA.
How we're going to maintain and operate it. Because we know we're not going to generate enough, $1 million a year to maintain and operate it off 25 customers.
Mr. Chairman, that's my motion.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just asking you, Mr. Kirby, you got all the answers for everything else. I mean.
Mr. Chair, that's the third time I've been tapped.
Why not deserve an answer? Okay, you're out of order at this point in time. Okay.
Do I not deserve an answer, Mr. Chair?
I understand where you're going from this, and
you
got your question. You fixing to get an answer. Because David, am I wrong? I'm letting this thing here play out. Did I not ask for clarification on a PER?
Yes.
Okay, ain't got it. And nothing against Kevin, because we're following a procedure here as what USDA is recommending. So I was gonna let it all play out. I ain't said nothing to nobody, but I did tell you, David, correct? And then David was not given the information on the PER, because you're exactly right, Rocky. I don't understand exactly. I understand it. They're saying that this agreement does this, this, and this in order to get the plan to step B. And that's what this is going for, the $265,000. Is it budgeted? In my opinion, it is, because it's in future enhancements in utility, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that being said, using the power before, is there a motion here?
Yes, I'll move the approved BA 25-36.
Okay.
Ellisville Wastewater Treatment Plant preliminary engineering report in the amount of $265,000.
Okay, Joel, not to cut you off, Robbie. Robbie's made a motion. Can I table this, take this off the agenda or whatever? I wanted this out for discussion just to prove a point, and I think I just proved my point.
Has there been a second yet?
No.
The motion would die for lack of a second.
Okay. If nobody decides to give a second.
If nobody
And my point, board, is simply this. I asked early on, I didn't get it. So what Mr. Ford's saying, it does not warrant a vote, in my opinion. Because the PER And it's nothing against Kevin's doing his job. This is a step of USDA. Can we put this off till the next meeting? Yes, because I guarantee you, I'll have this information in the morning. I ain't asking nobody else. But my point is that we as a board need to understand. Have you ever heard of a PER?
Say again?
Have you ever heard of a PER?
A PER?
A PER, P-E-R.
No, I have not.
Kevin ain't, you ain't. I know I have. But
A PER?
yeah, and I understand, but the Tim Murphy days are over with where I'm gonna sit there and have a conversation in the hall, say, well, this does this, this, and this. No, I want to see it on that piece of paper right there. So with that being said, Mr. Kirby, appreciate it, but I'm gonna take that off the agenda for discussion. We'll deal with it at the next meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, procedurally proper, it was already on an approved agenda, so just make a motion to table it to the next meeting if you could.
Okay. Well, Rocky, you were saying?
I will send my.
Your motion.
You don't have to-
like to
Okay,
say
well,
it.
I'll make a motion to table it till the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll need to have that voted on.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. All in favor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is hurricane preparedness guideline. As you are aware, April 3rd, we held a workshop relating to hurricane preparedness. After receiving the consensus of the board, you will find the guideline for approval. Once approved in the event of a hurricane emergency event, staff will be implementing these procedures. I'm requesting a motion to approve hurricane preparedness guideline manual in the event of a hurricane emergency.
Chairman, I make a motion that we table this also for further discussion. I have some issues with the private road, working on private roads during a hurricane. I think the people of Columbia County elected the Board of County Commissioners to represent them. And I don't feel comfortable giving all of the authority to the road department superintendent on which private roads should be worked on and which ones should not be worked on.
Okay, Joel, question, because I think that the last meeting, we agreed on the changes recommended here, correct? So my point is because what Rocky's saying, I understand exactly what, and I have to agree, that can you come back and amend this guideline? Speak up.
He was asking me a question.
Okay.
So this is just the board's policies.
Correct.
You can change these at any time.
Okay.
What I think Mr. Kirby's done, Kevin, if I say anything wrong, straighten me out, but I think he took y'all's input from the last workshop and created this manual, which I think we discussed this would actually just sit on the table with y'all whenever you're doing your emergency meetings. But they're policies of the board. This is not a resolution, not an ordinance or anything.
Okay, so
really, we don't even have to adopt this.
You do. You should, but you can change it, right? Like going forward, you do need to put a pin in it somewhere. The motion that's on the floor, though, that is pending a second, is to table it, I guess, until the May 1st meeting.
Yeah, and I would request some changes made to this policy before we vote on it.
Okay, so the motion is to table, though.
Right.
And so the question, Mr. Chair, right now procedurally would be, is there a second to that motion?
Okay.
Is it easier to just approve it and then come back and amend it?
It's for y'all to decide at this point. If there's a motion to table, and it's up to the five of y'all to decide if you want to do that.
And before I try to squeeze a second out of somebody, I will say this, I'm gonna sit down and look at this schedule very, very hard to be able to have a workshop on our previous discussion. And I think this would be, we could possibly bring this in on that same workshop, on the tail, to have that discussion, because I hear you and every one of us, you guys, Rocky and Mr. Parnell on the private road deal, and Everett, because I give him most.
Nobody has more private roads in their district than me and Everett. Nobody.
If it's worthy for discussion, I have no problem with that, but procedurally, we got a motion to table it. You need a second, correct? Okay. So
who made the motion?
I made the motion.
You made the motion? No, and I second the motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second to postpone adoption of the hurricane preparedness guideline and can be discussed at in the near future workshop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Mr. Chairman, before I leave that, so I'm not gonna do anything else with it. We're gonna have another workshop. Is that what we're doing?
Cap, I guess we're gonna have to say that. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Because I simply took the data from the last workshop and reduced it back.
That's right.
Fair enough.
I agree, and, it sounds like, not putting words in Mr. Ford's mouth, but it sounds after severing over it a little bit, you got some concerns. Okay, understandable. But what I want to say about this hurricane thing, because I've been ironically talking to a couple other commissioners in different areas. Number one, we're still the king on the hill. And number two, they would love to see what we come up with here and the efforts that's put forth, of course, with the road department, all Kevin's, support team. Appreciate what you've done, and there's gonna be a lot of people looking at this, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So the next item, is annual group, resurfacing. We received 2 bids. Andrews Columbia was low. Recommended motion to award bid number 2025-03 to Andrews Columbia with a total bid amount of $530,001 and to approve the agreement.
So moved.
Second. Before we vote, could you give us a list of what roads this is in Group 2? It's not, I couldn't see it.
It's in your backup.
Anywhere.
It's in your backup.
I didn't see it in there. All I seen was the bid documents.
I believe this is for, Boss Road.
Is Boss and Abigail with me?
No, Abigail's in last. I think it was Boss. Saturn was on this one. And there was, there was another one. 2 of them were in District 1 and the other one was somewhere else. But it wasn't listed on here because I didn't have it either, but I just happened to ask about it. But it was Boss. I want to say maybe Bond.
It was Bond.
Boss, Bond,
Yes.
and Saturn is what the roads were. If
Yes.
that'll suffice for you.
I knew I seen Boss and Saturn or something like that.
Yeah.
Not on the backup, but.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the backup material at all. So.
Okay.
But that's a good point. You know, when we do that, that's easy enough, keeps the public on what roads are, get everybody excited anyway. Say, did we vote on that? I can't remember. No. Excuse me? Did we? Okay, got a motion?
Second. I second that.
In a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Thanks, sir. The next is Alligator Lake Wooden Bridge repairs. We have multiple bids. Cut It Up Custom Service was low. Requesting a motion for bid number 25E to Cut It Up Custom Service for the total bid amount of $38,049.39 and to approve the agreement.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second. This is that, they'll say how, I don't even, well, I know how to say it. Before I ask for the vote, you comfortable with this, Clint? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay.
There's a big difference.
Yes, that's why I asked. Big deal. But I know Clint's gonna be the eyes on the job, so I'm good with that.
Okay, the next item is HVAC Preventative Maintenance and Repair Services. An addendum to the existing HVAC Preventative Maintenance and Repair contract with Siemens Industry for a 6-month extension at the same pricing as stated in the existing contract. Guarantee continuing the annual rate and allow Columbia County to determine other options for preventive maintenance repair on the chiller and boiler at the county facilities as needed. So this is your annual contract. Approve addendum to the existing HVAC preventive maintenance and repair services with Siemens Industry for a 6-month extension at the same pricing as stated in the existing contract.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Okay, thank you. The next item relates to your Hurricane FEMA stuff. So the initial award of the contract for 2022 RFP for disaster recovery consultant services to Synergy Disaster Recovery LLC expires in May. In accordance with the board's direction, Synergy has indicated their willingness to extend the current contracting terms for 2 additional 1-year terms. So these are your guys that monitor your collection as required by FEMA. So I'm requesting a motion to approve contract extension for 2 additional 1-year terms.
So moved.
Got a motion? Got a second? Question, Got a motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Kevin, before we move on to the other one, just, for educational purposes, on this Synergy group here, does this group travel with the, contractors that's actually out there picking up the stuff?
Yes, sir, you got two different divisions of it.
Okay.
You got one guy in the field, or one group, in the field. You got one group at the disposal yards. Make sense?
Gotcha.
Now, it's not 100%, but at the end of the day, the goal behind this is FEMA thinks an outside party validating the cubic yards of loads is validation. So they want an independent firm, for obvious reasons, outside of the county. They don't want us looking at the books. They want an independent firm outside of the firm doing the collection.
Okay. The question was asked by a possible contractor that in neighboring counties, that these people direct them as to where and what to go pick up and what have you. This group does not. And I told them to reach out to you or whoever, because I've never heard of such as that.
No, sure.
But I was on I seen the little flagman, if you want to say, but I didn't realize that was actually a part of the Synergy, but I learned something. Okay.
Right, but Synergy's main job is to validate the cubic yards of loads prior to disposal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, a monitoring well, installation of a small groundwater monitoring well at Mason City Community Center. Swanee River Water Management District has a well located on private property in South Clement County and is looking at possible replacement locations. Well monitor box would be very similar to existing monitoring wells that are in place at Falling Creek Falls and Lulu Community Center. Approve installation, the motion recommended, approve the installation of a small groundwater monitoring well at Mason City Community Center.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Okay. And I'm gonna add two items after this, Mr. Chair, as we discussed. The last one I've got here on the actual list is the generator for Columbia County Detention Facility. So as we know, a few years ago, we built the new pod, the new jail. At the end of the day, all the outages and more frequent storms, there's always an issue with power. So Sheriff met with David and I. We need a generator. So I'm requesting a motion to approve VA 2535 for generator for Columbia County Detention Facility in the amount of $85,000.
So moved. Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Maybe you won't get calls from Mr. May now.
Maybe. Okay. Two items we discussed. Item number one, CARC. As most of you know, we're going to begin milling and paving next week on Bascom Norris. In that particular contract, we, the county, are going to retain the millings off that job. Mr. Bailey with CARC informed me they're going to start housing Swanee Valley trucks there again.
Swanee Valley Transit.
Swanee Valley Transit, rather. So I went and measured it up. It's about 11 loads of milling. We fund them anyway, just for an effort of transparency. I'd like to request approval to transport 11 loads of millings and spread it out, whatnot, to create him the areas needs for smart vehicles.
And myself and Mr. Phillips, we sat on this, but Stephen approached me with this and passed it on to staff. But Swanee Valley Transit Authority apparently they've lost where they're laying down now. Now they're going to come out here, and Stephen and them has built a building so the drivers can get there in the morning 4 or 5 and do their checkout and have a decent place to work off of. So with that being said, I'll be glad to make that motion. Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
And the final item is over at Animatics. Clint and I were approached to do some improvements for an Easter event over in Animatics. And we did so. We went ahead and did it. Quite frankly, I stay confused about what we're supposed to do or what we're not supposed to do at Animatics. I spoke with Joel about it. I spoke with David about it. Board, either we need to clean something up real good because we're always working in the gray area. For lack of a better word, the requests that always come to us simply always seem to fall outside of what I interpret the parameters of what our obligations are there, if that makes any sense. So I want to inform you, we went ahead and spruced it up for the Easter event, but I would ask the board to either re-clarify what our obligations are there or simply in we do not hardly ever do what the agreement says we're to do, if that makes any logic. So that, Mr. Chairman, I guess I'm requesting direction. I do not continue like working in the gray area.
Kevin, if I may, put Clint up. Clint, would you mind coming up and just share? Me and Clint's had a lot of discussions about this, and I think Clint can clarify it for us because he's the one that deals with it every day or whenever, whatever comes up.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank
We've got several issues over here, and I've spoke with Joel as far as what our agreement says. When that agreement was originally done, it does have in there for us to take care of the gates and the fences and several other things in that facility. As all of you know, even if before you were on the board, the county put those lights over there on that football field several years ago. We are the owner of those lights, but they have a 25-year warranty on them that comes under us. You can't attach anything to those light poles without permission from the Musco lighting system. With this being a privately owned facility, they do stuff over there without getting any input or anything from the county. Long story short, they have attached camera systems to lighting poles over there, which very well could void our warranty. So anything that happens to those lights over there, Musco can say, hey guys, you're on your own. So that's one thing. They have updated and done all this work on electronic gates and keyboards and all this stuff to the point. Last week, we had 2 different incidents. We couldn't even get into the facility to do the maintenance that is on our agreement because of these new gates. Well, in our agreement, it says that the county is responsible for these gates. Like I told Joel, we used to have slide gates with chains and locks over there. Anybody that, Tim, you've dealt with electronic gates over the years, that's a very expensive thing for us to take over any kind of responsibility for because it is in our agreement. But again, no permission or no conversation was had with the county before they upgraded this stuff. This last request that Mr. Kirby was talking about, I did ask him to go ahead and do it for the safety of the kids. But there's no maintenance being done over there properly on the playgrounds and the equipment, the stuff that we technically are not responsible for according to our agreement. So I brought all these things to light. We're in a very gray area over there. It's a privately owned facility. We have no county functions over there whatsoever. And I understand, I've been here 25 years with the county. The original MOU for all of that was so that we could benefit and use that facility for county functions. And that has never happened. We have not had one function over there that we have done with the county. So I wanted to bring that to the county because I don't feel like the MOU that we had is currently being done properly, and there's things being done over there that affect our MOU. So that's where we are with it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
So it kind of sounds like that. Oh, can I talk?
Yes, absolutely.
So it kind of sounds,
come on, that's a big loud mouse. You know what I mean?
So it kind of sounds like we didn't void the agreement. They voided the agreement by the actions that they took. Correct?
That's correct.
So why are we operating in a gray area for an agreement that we didn't void?
Well, if they call us to go do something, for instance, fixing one of those new electronic gates because it's in our agreement.
Right.
It's in our agreement that the gates are our responsibility, but they've upgraded them.
Right. They've
on their
upgraded them.
own. So
we can't even access them, right?
Well, last week we couldn't because they had an issue with their keypad.
Right. So they put something on our gate that we didn't do, and so now, but we
Right.
still have to maintain it.
Right.
I mean, that's not kosher.
Yeah. To me, the agreement's been voided. That's why I bring all these
So
things
was there
up.
a length on this agreement? Like, did it say like it's going to be for this amount of time? Are we at that time frame yet?
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah. So
Okay,
let me walk you through where you're at because Clint's done a good job of kind of laying the groundwork. There was a license agreement that was made back in 2019. It was for 10 years. So we got till 2029. That agreement's still out there. And it was very limited to the improvements that the county made at that time. We laid out an exhibit and it had a list, just like Clint indicated, light poles, goal posts, gates, fences, certain things. The reason Kevin mentioned the gray area and Clint's mentioned the gray area is over the last couple of years particularly, they'll call and ask for things that aren't on that list, like this mulch that I think we went ahead and did anyway. There's clearly not an understanding of what the license agreement really is for. And it was really for our recreation department, which we no longer have, to have a right of first use of this park. And in exchange for that, we made a bunch of improvements to the park. County did. We retain the option to terminate at any time with 60 days notice under section 4 of the contract. If you guys vote, I send a letter, 60 days later, it's over with. I think that's what I'm hearing Clint say is that, you know, we can't even really operate anymore. We don't have a recreation department to use the license agreement. We keep being asked to kind of do things that are outside the scope anyway. The consequences of terminating the license agreement from the board's perspective are any of the improvements we made to that park stay there when we leave.
Okay.
But we knew that going in. And I think Commissioner Murphy, I saw him nod and he remembers that. We knew that going in. And we had the 10-year lease, but we had the right to pull out with 60-day notice at any time with the understanding if we ever do that, we're walking away from the improvements we've made. And Clint, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's kind of what you're saying. It's like, let's just go ahead and cut now. And we've left it in good condition. We've taken good care of it. Let's just move on. So if you guys vote to do that, we'll get together with Clint. We'll get any warranty information, anything relating to the improvements we're leaving behind. We'll turn them over to those guys and it'll be their park to run. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I would just need a motion to terminate the license. And then if you vote to do that, I'll send the letter and we'll take care of the paperwork.
And again, this was private park, right?
It is a private park. Yeah,
In the city limits?
it is. So there was a
essentially go to
whole
the
thing
city.
about who had what. There's
Yeah.
a really I'll show you the memos one day if you get bored.
I mean, so they can go to the city and the city can take over this and do their whole thing, correct?
It's interesting because there was like a belief that it did belong to the city, but then we did the title search and no, it doesn't belong. It's actually private. It's actually private. So, and this whole license agreement was something that Mr. Darby had done between the city and the park 20 years ago. So we just kind of came in behind them. But you're right. I mean, there's other options. There's other things they can still come to the county and
So
ask
if
for
we
help.
end ties, that's not really ending their funding. This is a private entity that we're trying to use tax dollars for. That's
right.
It doesn't sit well. So, there's other entities they can go to get their funding to spruce up their stuff and have their events and all that. Because needless to say, we can't go there and host an event anyways. They probably wouldn't allow it for whatever reason. If they're going to change our gates and do our light poles and all, they're not going to allow it. So, I got no problem making them. I'll make a motion that we null and void their agreement, do the 60-day portion, and we go from there. If they're not going to vote the agreement, then, that's just on them.
Got a motion on the floor? Got a second? To nullify the lease agreement.
No, I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say, of course, 8.5 years ain't no eternity, but I feel like that this board and previous boards have done a great job of fulfilling the agreement that was in place. And one thing I would like to say, I think we as a board have done a good job. And Clint, all the stuff I know you've been through over the years over there, and still hold your head up, that we've done a good job. And I appreciate what y'all have done as a team. Go ahead, David.
All right, I appreciate the folks from Kimley Horn that are still here. If you'd like to come on up. The board asked us to redo the LDRs. They're very old. They don't really meet what your needs were. So we went and did an RFP. We evaluated the terms, the teams, and this is the team that was recommended by the selection committee. And we're asking you to approve the selection committee so we can negotiate the contract and begin the process. It is a 2-year process in which we would amend all of our LDRs to reflect more of what our current needs are and not something that was done 20 years ago.
Hi, Blair Knighting, Kimley Horn. Thank you all for the time. We're really excited to start this process. Kristen Reed, she's here with me tonight, and we really appreciate you guys choosing us for the opportunity. Well, hopefully. Yes, please. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Do you know what you're getting into?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is what we do every day. We read code, we read LBC every day.
Snore going on like that road back there.
He must call you, do not pay attention to it.
We definitely were listening to every word tonight.
Well, I'd say this, it's a much needed, we run into it a gazillion times and, we definitely were overdue. So,
Need a motion?
yes, sir.
I move that we approve the ranking and authorize staff to negotiate with Kimley Horn.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Thank y'all for your patience. Don't judge us, okay?
Next one's pretty straightforward. We have 2 vacancies on the Economic Development Advisory Board. We've had 1 applicant. We are asking you to appoint Shani Walker, who's a senior mortgage broker with Atlantic Bay Mortgage. She was recommended by the Economic Development Advisory Board.
All right.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next one is a budget amendment for the EMS County grant. This is real simple. You got the grant, you approved the grant. It wasn't spent last year. Now we want to appropriate that money back into this year's grant so they can actually complete the grant.
I move to approve BA 25-34.
Got a motion? Got a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Did that one? Request for workshop. Okay, originally we wanted to get court admin out of the rented facilities into a county-owned facility so we didn't have to pay $63,000 a year, or they didn't have to pay $63,000 a year, which ultimately the counties end up paying for. We discussed moving the building department and the Board of Health Environmental Services from the basement of the annex. Figuring if we did that, maybe we could squeeze them into the annex, they would be by the courts. The court does really want court admin near the courts and not halfway across town. Since that time, you got the reporter building, but now we also have the Lake City Hospital Authority Administration Building and the Lake City Hospital Authority Record Storage Building, which we believe will ultimately be our options. So the world's changed since we started down this path. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I now have received a request from Florida Crown Career Source to lease a portion of the reporter building. And we met today with DEP. You guys are talking about DEP and trying to get them in here to do the septic tank stuff. They told us they're doing Marion County in July and ours would be in August. They would like to lease up to 8 offices in the reporter building as well. And again, that's them leasing from us, paying tenants. So you have the possibility of 2 paying tenants in the reporter building. Having said that, that changes everything. So I would like to request a workshop sometime in May, not on the 1st, and sometime in the evening, due to schedules, to just go over to the reporter building with this board and the public and hear the 2 proposals for renting the space and see what the board wants to do.
How do you handle that, David, when you say in the public? I mean, I realize we got to work under sunshine there. So, Joe, I mean, do we do these things?
I mean, they would just come to the building just like the board would, and we'd set up space for the board to meet and discuss it in a public place for the public to sit.
At the reporter. So you got to advertise and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it just needs to be accessible under ADA standards, so it's a true open public meeting, but I don't think we should have any issues at that building.
If we make them use the back handicap ramp, yes, not the front one.
As long as we have access. We can technically, we can have a meeting anywhere as long as it's accessible. But yes, we will have to notice it and make it open to the public, et cetera.
But we think it's important for the board to see the building, because if you're deciding, if you're bringing in tenants, where the tenants will be, where building and zoning will be, if building and zoning will be there, seeing the physical space makes a difference.
Do we have to do any fix up to get them in there, or how does that?
So both DEP, and I'll know because tomorrow on my day off, I'm coming into work and giving DEP the actual physical tour of the building at 2:00 with the Board of Health. They're coming as well. Both they and Florida Crown has indicated they would be willing to accept the building in the condition it is. I, of course, would recommend some handicapped accessibility improvements. I would recommend carpeting and painting. But if that's the direction the board chooses to go, that certainly can be done. your tenants would be fine with that. If the board chooses to do a renovation, it's a much more expensive process, and that would be more significant.
So you'll just get back to us, you're saying on May 1st, correct?
Just not on May 1st.
Not on May 1st. What's May 1st?
It's our board meeting.
Oh, that next meeting. Okay. You
So,
don't
but
wanna do it on that day.
we've had a request that we do it at night. So, and it was from a board member to request to do it at night, so I'm requesting some night that you guys pick. You tell me what day, and that's when we'll do it. And not the 13th.
That was me. I requested to be in the afternoon just because the whole month of May, I'm on day shift, the whole 30 days. So if I could do it, we could do it at 5:30. I'm there all day. And I would like to see the building. So that was on me. My bad, guys.
I have no problem with it, David. The only thing I would ask of you to give Donnie ASAP and make sure Donnie can go over there and inspect, make sure the accessibility part is truly up to date. You know, I
Yes.
don't want anybody,
I don't
you know
want
what I'm
anybody getting hurt or.
you know, now I realize that's not where the new, if you want to call it, ADA is going to be in the future. But however they're accessible, I don't even remember.
So what we're talking about is on the back side of the building, there is an existing handicap ramp that comes to the back side of the building. We'll need to move some of our supplies that we've stored for the next hurricane so that it makes it
Has it been
Walkable?
updated ADA or, because, you know, there's laws changing, maybe grandpa, I don't know.
We would need to do additional ADA improvements to make it compliant.
Because I don't want anybody to get hurt coming there, you know?
I mean, the other option is we could go individually, talk about it, and then have the workshop at the school board after you've seen it individually and have your concepts.
Let me, if I may.
I'd be open to either one of them.
Yeah. I personally have already been over there a couple times, as you
Mhm.
well know. I mean, you visited the other day. Whoever, I don't know, Rocky, you been there probably? Okay. My point is, why can't we get David and his guys to, you know, put a little PowerPoint together and then let's have it here because, you know, I mean, I'd hate for somebody to go in that back room where you got all that stuff stored, you know, the concrete so unlevel and then, you know, Morgan be our best friend.
Yeah.
And that's what you want?
And I can meet you over there one afternoon and we can go look at it and then we come back here. That's no biggie.
Maybe we can just go, each commissioner go at a different time.
Yep,
between
we
now
can
and
do
then.
that.
That'd be fine with me.
So I will schedule times for all of you if you want to go see it, and we'll go through it at your convenience. And once everybody's been through it, I'll come back to the board and schedule the workshop.
Just give it that, I think shooting it that way for the public can, you know, have a little bit of input if there are questions or whatever, but I'm good, so don't worry about scheduling me. I've been there enough.
And I think both of them are looking at, like I said, DEP would like to have offices before August because they want to take over in August in our district. Florida Crown is looking at a July, August date as well.
The only reason I'm.
So you couldn't do renovations.
You just said DEP and, of course, Rocky's probably aware, but DEP has made, I talked to Sally Ford and she's on vacation right now, but Sally told me when she gets back next week, she'll be sharing it with us. And then, you know, that there's been some updates with DEP about all the mess going on, I guess. You heard anything about it, Rock?
They've really been tight on information.
Is that right?
I ain't to give a whole lot of information.
So hopefully.
But I have been told they will be taking completely over on Secretary program in August.
In August.
So what I can tell you is we met with them today over a virtual call. They're coming to town tomorrow for a physical visit of the building. And then Monday, all of the staffs with our staff are going to meet and talk about any questions and issues that may happen.
You don't have to put me in there. I've been over there and I don't know what's over there. So, I mean, I know there's plenty of room to make different offices for everybody, plus some. So, plenty of room there.
So you can meet me over there and we'll go look at it.
Sounds good.
It's all good. We'll meet over there and, you know, we'll have a Coke and a smile and walk through. And
I got a mag light in the truck. Y'all get it now. That's
I ain't got it. We had a long enough time.
We have power in the building.
Yeah.
So I do want to give you a quick update on that as well. The ambulance service has moved out of the building. They have found their own location. So they're no longer a tenant. The other two tenants that we currently have in the building is American Red Cross and the fire marshal.
How's that working out?
Hmm?
How is that working out?
They're never
there. They're a great tenant. They don't ever show up.
Okay.
Great. And I think that was everything, wasn't it? No other additions? Good deal. Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience tonight. And I'll get with you on anybody that wants to see the building. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, open public comments. Think the public's left. Brian, you got anything to say? You must have been bored tonight, boy, sitting there and just sitting, daddy.
You ain't got nothing to do, do you?
Okay, staff comments?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Any updates, David, that you already have not already given? No, I think.
At this point, my brain is dead and I don't know.
I got you. Okay, before we get to commissioner comments, Mr. Ford, would you please give the board an update on what we did yesterday with North Florida Water Utility? On the.
So we voted yesterday to hire Shannon Roberts as our executive director. Mr. Kraus, Mr. Murphy, and Mr. Scott will be meeting with him to discuss his pay and basically a contract for hiring him.
Okay.
They're gonna bring that to the meeting on the 7th, I believe.
I think it was 7th, yeah.
So we did make the first step to hire somebody yesterday. Hopefully, this is a good step in the right direction.
Yep.
I really believe it is.
Yep.
If we have a utility to run after everything's said and done.
They'll be there. Okay, Commissioner, start with you, Everett. You got anything?
So we're gonna have a workshop on these two items that we've talked about having a workshop on.
The Fort White deal?
Yeah.
And the,
Yeah, but I forgot.
help me, no, the Fort White deal and the, storm preparedness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanna make sure we're gonna have that.
And
I mean,
I need to get with David on Monday and make sure everybody's, because there's a lot of, things moving next month, but I don't want.
yeah, well,
But evening good with, board? Evening good?
I have something else I want to add.
Okay, but evening good? Okay. But go ahead. Everett,
so
finish up.
I'm good with whenever we can have it. I mean, I was just trying to get something done as soon as we can for Fort White. I know we've turned them loose to a certain extent now, but I'm with you. There's some things in there that's, we all need to know exactly what's going on. And Robbie's got a good point. But then yet, when I listened to the lawyer over here, he said that, if I'm not wrong, maybe I misunderstood.
I said a lot of things tonight. You might have heard something
I know,
wrong.
I've listened to a lot of it too. And listened to a bunch of Robbies. But anyway, needless to say, it's okay. Robbie done good. But what you were saying was, it's not gonna automatically come back to this county to pay for that, operating that.
It's so I'm trying to give advice from the standpoint of risk assessment. And from a standpoint of risk assessment, I can't say Commissioner Hollingsworth is wrong, right? Because there is a possibility, and I think the mayor kind of hit on it too. If they were to get sufficiently sideways, DEP would bring what's called an enforcement action, and the consequence of the enforcement action could be involuntary abandonment. We would then appoint a receiver. We're on the hook for whatever it costs for that receiver to do that. And really, honestly, as things are now, we'd probably be the receiver, right? Because we have a utility. I also think, and this is why we need to have the workshop. I think Commissioner Murphy's right. Let's unpack this. There are probably a dozen other outcomes, right? They go out and try to get more money. They go out and try to hire U.S. Water. They go out and try. There's a lot of different things that might happen between they build the plant and run it successfully, and they build the plant and don't run it successful. We end up, there's a bunch of things in there that could happen. I think, and I think this is what Commissioner Ford's point was that he was trying to drive, and the way we drafted this pursuant to y'all's instructions was we didn't want to be on the hook for any of that yet, right? And we definitely didn't want to accidentally contract to be on the hook for any of that. Very careful not to do that. And I think Commissioner Murphy, you told me you looked at it and you agreed. What I'm hearing now, though, so even though there was not a vote to approve it, there was also not a motion to reject it.
Right.
Does that make sense? So it was not approved tonight, but it was also not rejected. So we'll have a workshop, I guess, with the idea that we could put it back on an agenda and consider it at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand that correctly.
And you're exactly right. Just, work through it And then you each can make their decision upon information gained. Because, just like, Mr. Ford just stated, hopefully, I'll say it like this, my goal is, in the near future to see the utility running it. The North Florida water utility. I mean, that's the whole consensus of putting this utility together. And once, even on the utility side of things, once they figure out how the finance and everything works, it's all good, because, as I stated before, there's a lot of rural communities in the state of Florida. Their ears are perking up. And the truth is, we're the guinea pigs because we're the ones that dive off in this. And there's a lot of them going to be paying close attention. So,
On that note, Chairman, if I could.
yes, sir. Go ahead.
So when we do the workshop for Fort White, I want to add to that workshop what our plans are for Columbia County in the utilities. Because I've got 2 books at the house that we paid North Florida Professional Service a lot of money to generate. One of them is future wastewater plan for Columbia County, and one is future potable water plan for Columbia County. And it lays out a plan in each one of those books that we, of this board, voted on to proceed with. It lays out a clear plan in those books. And if y'all want a copy of them, y'all can call David and get a copy of them. I've got a copy of each one of them at my house, and I've read them thoroughly. And I can tell you right now, we're not following that plan at all. Not at all. And, if we're not going to follow that plan, I said it at this meeting the other day, we've got to get a clear plan for the future for utilities. We can't go north for a little while, then turn around and go back south for a little while and say, well, south ain't working, let's go west for a little while. We've got to have a clear vision forward for utilities in Columbia County. If we don't, we might as well stop right now. Because I can tell y'all, you got to have a clear path. You got to set goals. You got to have that goal. And you got to figure out how to get to that goal. And if we're not willing to do that, I don't know what we're doing here. I really don't understand what we're doing here at all. And we're paying big money to generate these plans.
And I think
we're not going to buy them. I mean, we're changing like the wind. We have no clear direction. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I put that on staff.
Well, hopefully with the direction that the water utility was hiring Bobby, Mr. Payne, that strategic plan he's putting together. And that be, because the ultimate goal, as everybody stated in barbershops and in this room, it's to take utility decisions out of the political realm and put it into, that's what the regional plans, that's why a utility works. And, and I think that's all of our goals sitting on that.
And I'm going to be honest with you too. We made a commitment to Suwannee County. In this utility authority. We made a commitment to them. I can tell you right now, they're wondering what the heck we're doing. They're wondering what we're doing.
But yeah, we'll iron all that out in the workshop. But
Okay.
Mr. Hollingsworth, you got done?
He said,
You did Rocky?
he said about iron. He got for hour and a half in the meeting. Said the same thing 4 times one time, I think.
Ms. Parnell?
Ain't nobody hearing it.
I couldn't hear it.
Ms. Parnell?
I'm all right. Well, I don't know. The meeting was a little intense to me.
Mr. Chair?
Just a smidge.
Apparently you ain't never been to a Dixie County meeting.
Well, I don't want to go to a
That
Dixie County
meeting.
meeting, but I don't want our meeting to turn to a Dixie County meeting either. So it was a little intense to me, but we have to make sure that we don't forget why we're here on this board. It's for our constituents, and we have to manage these taxpayer dollars efficiently. And I think we're trying to get there. We just can't lose sight of that. So we're not going to always agree. We can agree to disagree, but we got to continue to do what's right. And I believe we can get there. So let's just continue on with that. That's all we got. Let's go home.
Well, good deal.
Mr. Chair, by way of suggestion on your utilities workshop, you can have a stakeholders meeting where you can invite the city, you can invite Fort White, you can invite Suwannee County, you can invite all the stakeholders and let Grady and the North Florida Water Utility Authority spearhead that. Because I remember those plans, Commissioner Ford, and you're right. They've been sitting out there for a long time, but they haven't been looked at in a long time either.
That's true.
So a full-blown stakeholders meeting, now that you've got new representation at Fort White, you know, it might not be a bad time to do something like that.
Strategic plans are always put together 5 years, you know, to go, yeah, I mean, I know I was involved in one way back when I come here, but like Mr. Ford said, things change as it goes on. But you know, Mr. Kirby's putting together a stakeholders meeting down on 47, correct, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
You know, we've had this, an approach on the issue down there. So like Kevin, he was talking, it's best to put all the heads in the room at one time. Ain't nobody running, emailing somebody across the hall. You know, we'll get in there around the table, we'll iron it out and figure out where we're going to go. So, all right. So, motion to adjourn.
Let's go.
Got a motion. Let's go.